Global evolution. I transplanted the heart of the Supreme God. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501 The Reward I Want. If it weren't for Bai Pu, this would have been a perfect theft. But now, Bai Pu killed Xianlang and the orc team and ruined the other party's plan. Principal Bosch must have received some kind of magic alarm and came back in time to deal with the enemies who were still entrenched in the campus. Bai Pu knew that this night storm must have passed. You know, as a top awakener, Daizong's strength is already unfathomable, and this dry Principal Bosch is actually the object of Daizong's high hopes and wants to get his guidance. His strength should be much stronger than Daizong. With his personal action, whether it is the Superstar Alliance or the Orc natives, there is only one word: run. As for whether they can run away, it's another matter. Bai Pu sat cross-legged and continued to operate the sand waterfall fighting spirit to resist the energy of the voodoo curse. Now it's good, I can't even sleep. The lightning outside the window gradually subsided, and the thunder gradually stopped. Not long after, footsteps sounded outside the secret collection hall. These thieves are targeting the books in the secret collection hall. Oh no, let's take a look at the books in the secret collection hall. These damn orcs, could they have emptied the secret collection hall? I think the people outside made such a judgment after seeing the bodies of the security guards. As for the bodies of the orcs, it is reasonable to regard them as the result of several security guards fighting to the death. The door was pushed open, and a group of students rushed in first. Then they saw the neatly arranged bookshelves and Bai Pu sitting in the administrator's seat. Bai Pu coughed lightly. Everyone, if you want to borrow books, please show the certificate of the class instructor. Without the certificate, you cannot enter the secret collection hall. Who is this person? You haven't seen him? He is a first-year transfer student, the one who fought against the exchange student Lorich on the field. Oh, it turned out to be him. After a few students whispered to each other, they knew the origin of Bai Pu. However, they still looked at Bai Pu with suspicion. After all, Bai Pu was a freshman who had just joined the class halfway through. Soon after, this kind of vicious incident of an enemy sneaking in and trying to steal the collection of books occurred. As a librarian, Bai Pu must be suspected. What's going on? A question was raised outside, followed by a series of dean and headmaster addresses. Dean Bosch, accompanied by a beautiful woman with a slender figure, strode into the secret collection hall. There were two students following him, and they introduced their discoveries along the way and the existence of Bai Pu at a very fast speed. Your name is Diofule, right? New student, can you tell me what happened in the secret collection hall tonight? What did you do? Next to Dean Bosch, the muscular female headmaster asked questions and introduced herself at the same time. I am the head of the night class, Dana Sitabe. I apologize for any offense. This teacher Dana Sitabe's face was a little pale. It seemed that she should be one of the masters of the school who was tied up by the Superstar Alliance and suffered a certain loss. If it weren't for Principal Bosch coming back early, the night class teacher might have to be replaced. No offense, Miss Sitabe. Bai Pu smiled slightly. As you can see, a group of thieves sneaked into the secret library. I killed them while trying my best to protect the collection, and threw the bodies outside. Please arrange for the logistics staff to clean up tomorrow. There is a lot of blood in this place. Without Bai Pu's words, everyone could smell the strong smell of blood. I know you, Diofule. Principal Bosch's face, which had been stern, eased a little. A super freshman who completed the Lost Scepter mission with Tom and Asana. It seems that your strength has broken through again. You can actually get rid of so many orcs, and even the inner ghost Simli. Simli, that is, Zilao, used divine power to teleport away, but his body remained in the side of the natives. From then on, Simli's identity was cancelled in the Damo world. The next time Zilao comes, he can only match a new identity. Okay, all of you go back to the dormitory area to rest. Principal Bosch waved his hand. Dio stays. A group of students immediately looked at Bai Pu with envy. In their opinion, Bai Pu had made great contributions and must have won the favor of the principal. What a great opportunity. Principal, what if the enemy is still determined to do evil? Although our resting place is in the dormitory area, Gadgetsun Academy is also our home, and we have the responsibility to protect it. That's right, I apply to establish a students' guard team. and take turns patrolling the teaching area at night. If this happens again in the future, let the enemy have a taste of the power of numbers. The students of Gajetson, even those who have not yet studied in the headquarters, are at least at the level of enhanced elites or even warriors at level 7, and a few have even reached the level of enhanced warriors. Think about the entire Gajetson, thousands of students. What a terrifying force this is. This is also the reason why almost no one dares to attack Gajetson Academy. That is to say, the Superstar Alliance, as an awakened force, is extremely bold and can persuade those orcs with muscles in their brains to do it together. The information provided by the West Building is crucial. At night, the students of Gajetson basically go to the dormitory area to rest. As long as the plan is carried out quickly enough, the students will not have time to rush to the teaching area, and the orc team will have escaped with the books. The school will seriously consider the suggestions of us students. Bosch waved his hand. With me here, the enemy dare not come again. Everyone, rest assured. After expressing their loyalty in front of the school principal, the students returned to the dormitory contentedly. School principal Bosch and director Dana asked Bai Pu for some details and found that what Bai Pu said was indeed consistent, so they nodded and believed Bai Pu. This time you have made great contributions, saving the books of the secret collection hall and thwarting the conspiracy of the orcs. What reward do you want? Director Dana asked. Bai Pu thought about it and thought that this should be a small opportunity to make a wish. As for treasures, Bai Pu actually needs other elemental treasures of the same level as the Earth Dragon Ball. But if you use your toes to think, this treasure must be very precious, and Bai Pu cannot ask for it. Bai Pu looked up at Bosch. The reward I want is a chance for the dean to give me some advice, is that okay? What a good student. Dear Bosch said with a smile, his beard twitching, okay, I can meet your condition. But I see that you have just made a breakthrough not long ago, so it's best to get familiar with your current strength first, and then use this opportunity for guidance when you encounter a bottleneck. Okay, thank you, Dean. Bai Pu quickly finalized it, lest the Dean regret it. Chapter 502, Gajetson's Student Identity. Bai Pu was in a very good mood. The guidance of the schoolmaster Bosch was a good opportunity that even Daizong was eager for. Daizong came for this, but he still needed to continue to accumulate contributions, improve the reputation of the school and the favorability of the schoolmaster Bosch. Bai Pu didn't need it. This was the key to the identity. Bai Pu was a student, and it was natural for him to ask the teacher and the schoolmaster for advice and get guidance. But Daizong was not a student, so he had to go through a lot of trouble to ask for advice. Why didn't Daizong and Xilu seek the status of students? The reason was even simpler. Their ages had long exceeded the admission standards, and Gajetson Academy would not admit them. Bai Pu was able to be a transfer student, not only because of his superior strength and the incident of Lorich's exchange student, but also because Bai Pu was young enough and worthy of cultivation in the eyes of the indigenous strongmen. The cultivation here is not only about strength, but also about the cultivation of a sense of belonging to the school. Bai Pu took out the Earth Dragon Ball. Principal, this is the Earth Dragon Pearl I accidentally found in the ancient ruins of Nacidus. I wanted to use it as the core of the Mana Seed, but other elemental cores of the same level are difficult to find. I wonder if you have any information about this. It was no secret that Bai Pu got the Earth Dragon Pearl, so there was no need to hide it. Now, taking advantage of the fact that the principal values him, asking for information without spending any money is also a habit of the awakened to take advantage of small gains. A more important reason is that Bai Pu watched the battle between the Holy Dragon King and Saragar and the Demon God Underground Palace. It is inevitable that he has a little more fear of this Dragon Pearl from the Holy Dragon King Aurelian. Obviously, Aurelian and Saragar are both beyond the awakened stage. Saragar can use the True Red Town to control mortals, so can't the more powerful Holy Dragon King Aurelian? When it comes to the existence of gods and demons, it is better to be cautious. Earth Dragon Pearl. Principal Bosch took the Earth Dragon Pearl, looked at it carefully, and suddenly frowned. It seems that there is a hidden spiritual power inside this Earth Dragon Ball. Principal Bosch said seriously, Dio, I advise you not to consider using the Earth Dragon Ball as a magic seed for the time being. If you have a chance in the future, you can go to the Lorich Magic School for exchanges. Those super magicians must have a clearer perception than me, and maybe there is a way to deal with the spiritual power. Principal Bosch is a fighting spirit warrior. His spirit is very sharp, but the breadth of his spirit or the thickness of his spiritual power is definitely not as good as the super magicians of the Lorich magic school. Naturally, he is not as good at perceiving and responding to the spiritual power in the Earth Dragon Ball. Bai Pu nodded and thanked the principal. The topic naturally turned to the incident of the orc attack. Principal Bosch, this incident is extremely bad. We can't just let it go. The night class teacher, Teacher Dana, whose face was still a little pale, gritted her teeth and said, otherwise, others will think that our Gajetsun Academy is easy to bully. Bai Pu could understand Teacher Dana's feelings. Originally, Gajetsun Academy was high and mighty. Looking at the 3 continents, who doesn't respect and fear the forces of all countries and states? Now a small orc tribe dares to come and make a bad plan, just like a small secular country sneaking into a sect of immortal cultivation to steal. What are you going to do? Principal Bosch first asked Teacher Dana for his opinion. All the students of Aries Peak should go out and destroy that ignorant orc tribe. Teacher Dana was murderous. There are currently 5 classes of students at Aries Peak. Except for those who have completed their studies and left, there are currently more than 100 students in the 5 classes. Among them, the 1st and 2nd classes have the least members, with more than a dozen. The 5th class has the most, accounting for nearly half. This means more than a dozen high-level lords and hundreds of high-level enhanced warriors. In terms of combat power, it is enough to crush the Rohan orc tribe. Moreover, the students who can enter the Aries Peak for training have a strong sense of loyalty and belong into the academy and will not disobey orders. Let them set out to destroy a country, as long as it is not to destroy their own motherland, the students of the Aries Peak will basically not resist. Dana, calm down. Dean Bosch shook his head slightly. It is easy to destroy that tribe, but have you considered the subsequent impact? Without waiting for Dana to speak, Dean Bosch continued, Gajetsun Warrior Academy has always been honored as a holy land for warriors. Kingdoms of all sizes, city-states and tribes are willing to send the top fighting talents to Gajetsun Academy for training. Why? Because Gajetsun Academy is aloof and never interferes in the affairs of various countries. Once we personally go down and break this balance, it will be difficult for countries to send top talents to study as before. Dana said unconvinced, but this time the orcs provoked us first, and we have a legitimate reason. It is indeed a legitimate reason, but can you guarantee that this reason will be believed by all the countries on the continent? They still look at the results. They will only see that the fighting genius sent here to study has become a sharp knife in the hands of the principal of Gajetsun Academy. Are we going to let it go like this? Dana said indignantly. Of course not. The Rohan tribe will pay the price for this. Principal Bosch took out a scroll from the storage ring and unfolded it. This is not a magic scroll, but a scroll for recording text. After unfolding, the surface of the scroll flickered, and countless names jumped out of it. Principal Bosch said gently, this is a list of students who have kept in touch with the academy among the graduates of Gajetsun Academy. Let me see, the human kingdom of Lot Continent. Well, there are a total of 537 people, most of whom are secluded in the countryside, and there are 19 students who are engaged in politics and the military and have a greater influence. Send letters to these graduates in the name of the alma mater's anniversary. Bai Pu leaned over and took a look. Wow, the first graduate named Tyro on the list of 19 people chosen by Principal Bosch actually has the suffix title of head of the military government of the Kingdom of Aura, Supreme Military Commander. The titles of other people are also amazing. They are either the Grand Duke of a certain territory, or the Prime Minister of a certain kingdom. The worst one is the Commander of the Royal Guard. It may cost a lot for these people to deal with the orc tribe alone, and they may not be willing to give everything for the academy. However, it would be too easy to deal with an orc tribe if the power of these 19 people was combined. Because they are enough to decide the foreign policies of all human kingdoms in the entire rock continent. If everyone throws a stone, what is eventually accumulated on the orc tribe is an unbearable burden. My identity as a Gajetsun student really has endless potential. Bai Pu sighed in his heart. Chapter 503, Just Sorry. After Principal Bosch and Teacher Dana decided how to deal with the orc tribe, Bai Pu raised his hand. Principal, excuse me. I was cursed by the orcs during the battle, and I have never been able to get rid of it. Voodoo curse. The Aboriginal warriors were surprised, not because the voodoo curse was so terrible, but because Bai Pu, who was at such a level of strength, could actually carry the voodoo curse and talk for such a long time. I saw that you looked normal, so I didn't investigate. You were cursed by voodoo, Why didn't you tell me earlier? If it breaks through the fighting spirit defense and penetrates deep into the body, it will be troublesome. Principal Bosch thought for a while, took out the second scroll with many names recorded, and opened it. There were very few names recorded on this scroll, only more than 100 people, all of whom were students of the God of War Peak. Principal Bosch picked out a name from the list of the second batch of students, Munis Whitley. Your kind of curse should be removed by a super magician of the Life Spirit Department, but we don't have one here. The alternative is to ask Munis, who is good at healing fighting spirit, to come. Her strength is enough to help you remove the curse, and there are no side effects. I remember that Munis is very familiar with you. Bai Pu nodded. The two school principals also have the ability to help Bai Pu remove the voodoo curse, but they do not practice healing fighting spirit, so the effect is not as good as Munis. School Principal Bosch said to the glittering name Munis Whitley, Student Iofule has been cursed by voodoo. Please come to the secret collection hall now to help remove it. Is it so convenient? Bai Pu was very curious. This magic scroll can also transmit messages, which is almost the same as a mobile phone. But how should Munis answer this notification message? Teacher Dana explained, Munis's student card has a magic mark on it, which can receive some simple messages. Your student card has the same function. Principal Bosch said, okay, let's go first. There are still some things to deal with in the academy. Dio, you stay here and wait for Munis to come. Okay, Principal. But I have another request. Can you approve a long vacation for me? Bai Pu wanted to take a long vacation, and the reason he gave was very simple. He had just made a breakthrough, and in order to consolidate his strength and increase his knowledge, he wanted to travel to various countries on the mainland. In fact, Bai Pu's stay in the world of Damo Battle Academy was running out, and he could not trigger the main task of the next stage, so he had to leave. Teacher Dana was a little puzzled, and she persuaded Bai Pu to continue to stay in the academy to practice. In her opinion, Bai Pu still had a lot of potential that had not yet been discovered. However, Principal Bosch approved it very readily. As long as Bai Pu's practice progress did not fall behind, he was very tolerant of outstanding students. Principal Bosch only reminded Bai Pu to keep his student card. The Gadgetson student certificate has a magic mark on it, which can transmit messages. It can transmit detailed information at close range, and even at long distances, it can transmit the most basic information. Bai Pu always felt that there was a deep meaning in the words of Principal Bosch. After sending the two away, Bai Pu sat in the secret hall and waited. Dio, do you have time? A voice came from Bai Pu's mental space. This was the chat group of the Source Lord's Advent Talent, and the voice of Kin specifically contacting Bai Pu. Bai Pu blocked all the voices in the chat group, and only when he was contacted specifically would the prompt sound, which was equivalent to the @ function in the Penguin group in the AD era. Well, my trial in the professional plane has basically ended, and it went smoothly. Next, I will do some finishing and then I can return. Is there anything? Bai Pu replied. Nothing too important, just some progress in conquering other worlds, and routinely reporting to the master. Kin's voice was a little naughty. In fact, Kin did not regard himself as a slave, and Bai Pu did not regard himself as a master. Both of them knew this very well. Okay, I'll finish the things here as soon as possible, and then have a meeting. Bai Pu replied. About half an hour later, Munis finally arrived at the secret collection hall. Seeing that she was slightly out of breath, she must have rushed here at full speed, and she had consumed a lot of Dao Qi. After all, the distance between the God of War Peak and the main campus is quite far, dozens of kilometers. If the distance was very close, the orcs would not dare to come to the main campus to cause trouble. How do you feel? Munis hurried over and grabbed Bai Pu's wrist, and a gentle Dao Qi slowly injected into Bai Pu's body. Fortunately, the voodoo energy did not penetrate into the body. Munis smiled and patted Bai Pu on the shoulder. I didn't expect that your physique is quite special. You can actually restrain the voodoo energy. I will help you expel the curse now, just bear with it. The surging green Dao Qi poured into Bai Pu's body, destroying the alien voodoo energy in Bai Pu's skin and muscle layer. The muscle and membrane damage caused by voodoo energy was healed and repaired by the green fighting spirit. In terms of data, Bai Pu suffered the effect of the voodoo curse, from losing 1 point of all attributes per minute, to losing 1 point every 2 minutes, and then to losing 1 point every 5 minutes. The voodoo was constantly weakening. However, Bai Pu's health was slowly recovering. Bai Pu felt that he had learned something new. A fighting spirit warrior could actually play the role of a nurse to replenish people's blood. However, Munis's healing method has great limitations. During the healing process, physical contact must be maintained throughout the process and cannot be interrupted. Once Munis's palm was separated from Bai Pu's wrist, the efficiency would be greatly reduced if she could only transmit fighting spirit through the air. Soon, the voodoo energy was swept away. Bai Pu breathed a sigh of relief as if he had gotten rid of a heavy yoke. Thank you. You should thank me properly. How about treating me to breakfast for a month? Munis stroked her hair and showed a mischievous smile. Let's have a big meal instead. Bai Pu said with a smile, I have asked for leave from the school principal and I will travel around the continent to broaden my horizons. Ah! Munis' eyes widened, her face full of disappointment. She immediately cheered up again. Traveling around the continent? It sounds very interesting. How about traveling with me? You see, I am good at healing doubt key. If you are injured, I can also help you heal. With a super healer like me accompanying you for free, you will make a fortune. Bai Pu sighed and shook his head. I also want to travel with you, but I'm sorry. Although Munis is a level 8 lord and is much stronger than Qin in terms of strength, she has not understood the mystery of the world after all, and Bai Pu cannot explain too much to her. Munis was a little disappointed and forced a smile. Okay, I was too abrupt. There is no need to treat you to a big meal. Let's meet again in the future. Chapter 504, Source Master's Advent Meeting. The Source Master descended on the chat group. In Bai Pu's mind, this originally empty mental space already had a long oval conference table with long high-back chairs on both sides. The table and chairs were carved from jade, exuding a simple and heavy sense of vicissitudes. This was Bai Pu's favorite style, which he subconsciously imagined. On the main seat, a figure slowly appeared. It was Bai Pu's consciousness. Bai Pu looked up and saw black and white shadows standing on both sides of the conference table. These shadows were Bai Pu's apostles and servants, but not all of them. Only servants who were invited to join the group with Bai Pu's permission could leave an image in the conference hall of this mental space. Bai Pu's consciousness turned into a thin line and extended over to inform his subordinates that a meeting was about to begin. Bai Pu's notification had a very high priority. Soon, the apostles and servants became clearer from blurry, and from black and white 3D photos, they became vivid projections of consciousness like real people. Qin, who was sitting on the left, was the first to appear. She greeted Bai Pu with Nordic court etiquette. Qin seemed much more well-behaved in this occasion. Next to appear was Huan Shen, a demon general from the world of mind and body demons. Now she had a lot of free time. She still kept the red aristocratic girl's clothing and appearance. Bonnie from the world of original sin appeared third. This female warrior, known as the Evolutionary Edge, was more than 2 meters tall. The metal prosthesis on her right arm tightly grasped the 2-meter-long longsword. Bonnie seemed to be a little worried. After appearing, she lowered her head and sat in her seat without saying a word. Master, why didn't the 2 dinosaurs appear? Qin asked curiously. She found that the black and white projections of the Dimetrodon and Pterosaur did not exist in this conference hall. Their intelligence level is too low. They were added to the group just to test the function of this mental space. Bai Pu had kicked the 2 dinosaurs out of the group chat to avoid taking up space. You know, the number of people in the meeting that the mental space can accommodate is linked to the strength of Bai Pu's mental power. At the beginning, at level 6, Bai Pu's mental strength could only support about 5 or 6 people. Now it is different. Bai Pu has passed the trial and even cultivated a second profession, elemental magician, and integrated it into the main profession. The specialties of mental attributes can be fully utilized. According to Bai Pu's estimation, his mental space at this time should be able to support about 10 people at the same time for a meeting. Bai Pu's mind moved, and another consciousness projection appeared opposite Bonnie, that is, next to the magic general Huan Mirage. A short, ugly grass spirit. The intelligence of a grass spirit is about the same as that of an 8 or 9-year-old child, but it can't speak human language. After it appeared in this conference room, it was almost scared. Bai Pu, the master sitting on the main seat, was comparable to a god on the grass spirit's vision at this time. The grass spirit didn't dare to sit down, and could only crawl beside him, and didn't even dare to look up at Bai Pu. Sit down. Bai Pu said gently. The grass spirit sat on the chair tremblingly. Its small body matched the tall chair, which looked ridiculous. Qin, Huan Shen and Bonnie all looked at him. Don't underestimate the grass spirit. After all, it is a slave I subdued in the high-level spirit world. In terms of strength, it is not weaker than you. Qin and Huanshen are both enhanced warrior templates. They are top-level warriors in the intermediate spirit world, second only to the Lord. The grass spirit was originally an enhanced elite template. After receiving the pure blood bestowed by Bai Pu, it has evolved into a warrior template. A level 7 warrior is not inferior to a level 6 enhanced warrior in terms of strength. There is an insurmountable chasm between the intermediate spirit world and the high-level spirit world. Originally, this kind of vertical comparison would not appear, but Bai Pu's source master descended to the chat group, which allowed people from 2 different levels of the spirit world to communicate with each other, which led to this comparison. On the other hand, if Qin and Huanshen were not Bai Pu's slaves, they would enter the high-level spirit world and be infused with the power of the world beacon. Their strength would definitely advance by leaps and bounds and reach the top level of the high-level spirit world. That would not be something that the grass spirit could touch. During the casual chat before the meeting, another figure solidified beside Bonnie. Wearing a small crown and aristocratic hunting suit, the Queen of the Swedish Empire, Christina, appeared. "Why are you so late?" Qin frowned and said. "Sorry. Prime Minister Oxenshierna is explaining government affairs to me." Christina whispered. After all, she is the head of a country and is busy with affairs, so there is no need to blame her. Bai Pu waved his hand. "Okay, since everyone is here, let's start the regular meeting. Briefly report the situation of each plane and the recent progress." The last meeting had already reached a unified understanding. The purpose of the Source Lord's Advent chat group is to help the Source Lord Bai Pu discover the secrets of the world, change the fate of the world, and obtain legendary degrees in various planes. In general, it is to help Bai Pu obtain the legendary points used to light up the talent of the Heart of Evolution. Let me talk first. Huanshen was the first to speak. After the master left, the demonic area of De Huangchuan was greatly reduced, and human warriors completely took the upper hand. They knew that I was the master's servant, so they didn't make things difficult for me, except for Yan Daoji. What's the reason? Is it because she was not convinced that she lost to you last time? Bai Pu asked. She said that in order to prevent me, the demon leader, from doing anything harmful to humans again, she will keep an eye on me during the time you are away. Huanshen shrugged her shoulders. Although she was still a demon at this time, her instinct of bloodthirsty killing and hatred of humans had been suppressed by the evolutionary instincts of pure blood, and the evolutionary instincts of pure blood was suppressed by Bai Pu, the source master. Therefore, Huanshen is a demon who has gotten rid of vulgarity. As long as she doesn't go too far, let her go. Bai Pu waved his hand and said, after the death of the Red Emperor, the situation in the Great Wilderness River changed drastically. It is not clear how it will develop in the future. Perhaps even the low-level area of Zhuangwu Mountain Plain will be affected. That's right, the demon forces in the Great Wilderness River are in name only, and those Oath families have turned their attention to Zhuangwu Mountain Plain and the underground world. For example, the Dongbo family, led by the young patriarch Dongbo Changzi, went to the underground world. Bai Pu narrowed his eyes. The underground world is actually the high-level area of the heart demon world, the world where the black sky descends. It's not surprising that Dongbo Changzi would go to the underground world. He's going to find the magic weapon of the ancestor of the Azure Dragon Oath, the White Dragon Fang. Bai Pu muttered to himself, and then said, Huanshen, find a way to deal with the Flame Blade Princess, let her relax her vigilance against you, and then find an opportunity to get some information. Once the Dongbo family's exploration team has a conflict with a large demon force in the underground world, you must tell me as soon as possible. Chapter 505, Redeemer Nor. Bai Pu was not entirely concerned about Dongbo Changzi's safety. Dongbo Changzi was his good friend, but he was not a child after all. He was a top-level strongman in the spirit world. After entering the advanced area of the heart demon, Black Sky's Descent, Dongbo Changzi, the protagonist of the world, would definitely become more powerful as the world's beacon took effect. He would most likely become a high-level lord, even more powerful than Bai Pu. With his amazing talent in swordsmanship, the possibility of an accident was extremely small. The reason why Bai Pu asked Huanshen to remember to report was because when the Dongbo family's exploration team clashed with the demon forces in the underground world, Bai Pu would have the opportunity to participate in the battle and gain a lot of benefits, and maybe even explore the secrets of the heart demon, Black Sky's Descent. After the Mirage report ended, Qin continued, Master, after I left the world of flesh and blood plague, I have begun to travel around the world on your behalf. My first stop is called Xiangsha World, and its full name is Xiangsha, the Jinkang Change. This is an ancient Chinese-style source plane. Does the master know about the background of the world? Bai Pu smiled and said, You, a Nordic queen mother, actually matched with China during the Northern Song dynasty. Well, judging from the name, this should be the early 12th century AD, when the Jurchens in the north established the Jin kingdom, broke through the Song dynasty capital Beijing, and abducted the two emperors Song Huzong and Song Qinzong. Why two emperors? Qin asked puzzledly. Song Huzong Zhaoji was a huge incompetent ruler. When the Jin soldiers came to his doorstep, the old man was so scared that he quickly passed the throne to his son Zhao Huan, also known as Song Qinzong. Qin said suddenly, the Ningfu princess Zhao Chuanzhu, whom I rescued, was the sister of Song Qinzong. She should be the daughter of Song Huzong. No wonder that imperial dragon guard called her a princess. You chose the northern Song dynasty, the Han camp. Bai Pu nodded slightly. You made the right choice. Although the northern Song dynasty is extremely useless, this world is called Xiangsha, and it should be dominated by the martial arts world. The overall strength of the Central Plains martial arts world should be higher than that of the Jin kingdom, and there are many hermit masters. Qin smiled and said, I just did it casually. After all, those Jin soldiers had their eyes on me. Later, I thought, one way for the master to obtain legendary points is to drastically change the fate of the world, so saving the perished Song dynasty should be counted, right? My choice is still quite smart. Bai Pu narrowed his eyes and said, No, the Song dynasty did not perish. A royal family member fled to the south of the Yangtze River and established the southern Song dynasty. He is Song Gaozong Zhaogu. If you want to significantly change the fate of the world, you may have to kill this future Song Gaozong. But I heard from the natives that all members of the royal family, both men and women, were abducted. There is only one little prince named Zhao Yu, who is hiding in the deep palace and has not been discovered by the Jin soldiers. Qin said. How old is this Zhao Yu? It is said that he is 8 or 9 years old. Save him. Bai Pu narrowed his eyes and said decisively, Qin, you take the princess and the guards and settle down for the time being, and gather some noble families who are still loyal to the court. Be ready to cross the border to summon me at any time. Okay. This is actually Qin's idea. It's just that Qin, a blood magic mentor, is inevitably not confident enough to go to the palace controlled by the Jin soldiers to save people. With Bai Pu, the violent tank, leading the way, there is no need to worry. Bai Pu's deeds of destroying a country alone in the world of flesh and blood plague have long been written into the elementary school textbooks of the Swedish Empire. The only difficulty is to summon the source master across the border. It is necessary to provide valuable psychic items as sacrifices. The value of the sacrifice determines how long Bai Pu can survive. Bai Pu has already suggested a method. Although the Song dynasty encountered foreign enemies and was on the verge of collapse, there were still a group of civil officials and generals loyal to the court. Now Qin is going to summon this force under the banner of the princess. With the help of this group of indigenous people, it is not difficult to summon Bai Pu across the border. After Qin finished her introduction, Bai Pu's eyes turned to Bonnie. Bonnie, why haven't you spoken? Bonnie looked up, looking confused. Qin smiled and said, I can see that Bonnie has a lot on her mind. Maybe she encountered some trouble in the world of original sin. Why didn't she tell the master? Bonnie sighed, I didn't say it because I felt that it was useless to say it. That's what you are wrong about. Are you doubting the master's strength? Or is it that the trouble you encountered is hard to talk about, and the master won't help you even if he knows? Qin's voice was still gentle, but her tone gradually became sharp. Bai Pu felt that Qin should be suitable to be the law enforcement elder of a gang, or the dean of teaching of Gurjetson Academy. This self-awareness and this sense of oppression are simply amazing. Bonnie shook her head and said with a stiff face, the world of original sin where I live is different from the intermediate spiritual world you are in. The master can be invincible in the intermediate spiritual world, but in the advanced spiritual world of original sin, I am afraid that his strength is only equivalent to that of the bishop of the Church of Thorns, and he can't solve the crisis at all. Qin stopped talking and looked at Bai Pu. Qin's estimation of Bai Pu's strength remained at the last time they met. Bai Pu's strength is equivalent to that of a high-level enhanced warrior. In the high-level spiritual world, There are many natives who are stronger than Bai Pu. Bai Pu has completed the professional test this time, so he should have made some progress, but this does not mean that he has reached the second level, so his strength should not have made much of a leap. Although Qin wanted to maintain Bai Pu's prestige, she would not put Bai Pu on the spot, but gently persuaded him, no matter what, the master's wisdom is also top-notch and can provide you with guidance. You should still tell the truth. The Church of Thorns has sent 2 high-level lords to wipe us out. Dad and Lord Boraz are in disagreement again, and the new leader Lord Nur seems to have other ideas. Our church is about to perish. Bonnie whispered, in this case, wisdom is still useful. It sounds like a very powerless situation. Can I know the reason? Bai Pu asked. Although Bonnie doubted Bai Pu's strength, the master's order was still absolute. She immediately whispered the details. After Bai Pu and his group escaped with a holy artifact, the Gilded Man, as a war criminal, was severely punished by the Mother of Thorns. The Virgin of Thorns transformed the Gilded One into a war machine. It was enough to show how angry the Church of Thorns was about the failure of the battle for the holy artifact. The Church of Thorns was also discussing the follow-up remedies. Bai Pu and others fled far away and were nowhere to be found. But there was a person who stole the holy artifact, and he was a native of the original Sin world. He was the second person who took the holy artifact that Bai Pu saw on the holy artifact platform Redeemer Nur. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 506 Split. Bai Pu's memory has always been very good. At the Thorn Passion Sanctuary, the Gilded Man's opening remarks were, finally, the last holy artifact has arrived at this sacred Passion Sanctuary. Although a holy artifact was stolen by a rat that sneaked in. At that time, Bai Pu and others took a total of 5 holy artifacts. Rosen, the chosen of the Lord of Death, an external aid of the Thorn Church, took a holy artifact. In the end, there was 1 holy artifact left, which should be the holy artifact that the Gilded Man said was stolen by a rat that sneaked in. Bai Pu and others were all arranged by the Thorn Church to enter. They all had gilded marks on their foreheads. After getting the holy artifact, they were pulled into the Thorn Passion Sanctuary without any resistance. The rat that sneaked in should be the Redeemer Nur, who used channels outside the Thorn Church to sneak into the God-given Cheyenne Ken. He did not have a gilded mark, so after getting the holy artifact, he would naturally not be pulled into the Thorn Passion Sanctuary. The Thorn Church could not find Bai Pu and others, so it could only vent its anger on the Thorn Slayer organization. Now, the Gilder has been transformed into a war weapon, the Molten Gold Giant, and the Church of Thorns has sent the terrible spiritual lord, Two-Face, to control the Molten Gold Giant. I don't know how the Church of Thorns can always find the general location of the Redeemer Nur, and then carry out a sweep and kill. The Redeemer Nur took refuge in the Thorn Slayer organization, which is equivalent to exposing the Thorn Slayer organization to the front of the Holy War Army of the Church of Thorns. As the secret bases of the Thorn Slayers were cleared one by one, different voices appeared within the Thorn Slayer organization. The supreme leader of the Thorn Slayers is named Bolas. He doesn't want to shelter Nur anymore, which will only lead to the complete destruction of the Thorn Slayers. But his deputy, Bonnie's father, Bozo, the former leader of the Storm Church, strongly protested. Bozo's reason is also very simple. If Nur is killed by the Church of Thorns, his holy weapon will also be taken away. What will the Thorn Slayer use to fight against the Church of Thorns? As a new strongman of the Thorn Cutter, the Redeemer Nur seems to have other ideas. He secretly connects and develops forces loyal to himself to establish a new resistance organization. Even the name of the organization has been established, called Light of Redemption. The reason why Bonnie knows so clearly is that Nur personally invited Bonnie and her father to join the Light of Redemption organization. As a result, Bozo refused and they parted unhappily. No wonder Bonnie looks so worried. In Bai Pu's view, the disagreement between Bozo and Boraz is actually the difference between lingering on and dying standing. The Church of Thorns has occupied the majority and is so powerful that it is suffocating. The gap here is indeed not something that can be made up by wisdom. As for Nur's little thoughts, it is also easy to understand. He is afraid of being abandoned by Boraz, so he wants to start a new business. The current Thorn Cutter organization has begun to split under the surging external pressure. Bai Pu listened for a while and suddenly said, "Bonnie, Master. Bonnie looked up blankly. How is your relationship with your father, Bozo? Father, he loves me very much. Can you convince Bozo to provide the Thorn Church with information about the Redeemer? Bonnie widened her eyes in surprise. Master, my father is a very upright man. He would never betray his companions. Even Lord Boris would not allow such a thing. Then stay away from your father. Bai Pu said lightly. The situation facing the Thorn Slayer is very serious. If you want to break the deadlock, you must first remove the tumor. Master means. Mr. Ner is a cancer. Isn't it? Bai Pu asked back. Before Ner's rise, the two leaders Boris and Bozo did not have such obvious differences. Although the Thorn Slayer organization was at a disadvantage, it has always maintained its existence and has never encountered such a life and death crisis. Qin said, yes, this Ner is the key to the conflict between the two leaders. He does not want to bridge the rift between the two leaders. Instead, he wants to start a new business and aggravate the division. It is better to get rid of him. But our organization has finally obtained a holy weapon, and now it will be snatched away by the Thorn Church. Bonnie said. It was Ner who got the holy weapon, not your organization. Bai Pu emphasized, and this layout is to take back the holy weapon. When the Church of Thorns wiped out Ner and his followers, you came out as a surprise attack. But, even if we have a deliberate plan, we are not sure that we can take back the holy weapon. After all, the combination of Two-Face and Molten Gold Giant is too powerful. Bonnie lowered her head and said. The gap in strength is so large that it is difficult to make up for it with tactics. Summon me when the time comes. Bai Pu said. Bonnie looked up suddenly. But, Master, you have just been promoted to a high level. I know it. Bai Pu remembered that the strength of the world of Original Sin is 3.6. And the world of Damo, Battle Academy has a strength of 5.2. The general level of the world of Original Sin should be level 7, which is the middle-level spirit world forcibly promoted to the high-level spirit world under the action of external forces. Among the high-level spirit worlds, the strength should be the bottom one. Bai Pu felt that with his current strength, he should be considered a top-level fighter in the world of Original Sin, and this is a great opportunity to verify his strength. Bonnie still didn't believe it, so Qin said coldly, Miss Bonnie, have you forgotten your identity? The Master is willing to come in person to solve your problem. This is a great honor. What you need to do is to believe in the Master and cooperate with the Master, instead of questioning the Master's power. Bonnie's face changed. She didn't forget that it was Bai Pu who broke into her spiritual world during the suffering ceremony, gave a drop of pure blood, and saved her. When she was abandoned by God, it was the Master who gave her a new life. I know I was wrong. How should I cooperate with the Master? Bai Pu said, didn't Ner invite you to join his light of redemption? Promise him. You used to be a nun in the Thorn Church and a Thorn Crusaders of the Crusades. You should also be familiar with some of the channels for information exchange in the Thorn Church. Bonnie raised her head and said, I will join the Light of Redemption, and then sell the information about the gatherings of the Light of Redemption to the Thorn Church. That's the idea, but it depends on the timing. Don't do the first 1 or 2 gatherings for the time being, just win Ner's trust. Bai Pu said, you have to remember that when you reveal the information about a gathering, the venue of that gathering will be the battlefield for the decisive battle. You must carefully choose a favorable battlefield, and at the same time be prepared to summon me to come. I understand. After being taught to this extent, Bonnie, even if she is simple, can learn it. During the time when Bonnie is preparing, I will go to the world of heroes and set up the new song camp as soon as possible. Bai Pu turned to Qin, you have to be prepared too. Chapter 507 Title Conk. Fighting Demon World. After the Source Master Conference, Bai Pu regained consciousness and opened his eyes again in the secret collection hall. For the remaining time in the Fighting Demon World, Bai Pu had already made arrangements. In the Silver Clover Grassland, Bai Pu, as a part-time student in the secret collection hall, helped the group of grass spirits apply for the qualification of resident maintenance. From then on, the group of grass spirits also had a temporary organization. Bai Pu also wrote down the methods of cultivating fire and water magic circuits in the secret collection hall. Bai Pu did not comprehend the corresponding mysteries of these 2 magic circuits, so it was not possible to cultivate them successfully overnight. The remaining time in the Fighting Demon World was obviously not enough. After leaving the professional plane, no matter how much time was spent, it could not be cultivated. This is because the professional plane has its own particularity. The autonomous learning ability of the awakened has always been restricted, whether in the real world or in other spiritual worlds. Only during the period of participating in the trial in the professional plane, the autonomous learning ability of the awakened is not restricted, but will be greatly enhanced by the will of the spiritual world. Even if Bai Pu enters the Dharma world next time, he will not enjoy this learning ability gain. By then, the Dharma world will no longer be a professional plane for him, but just an ordinary plane world. If you want to gain some understanding in the fire and water systems in the future, or even achieve the achievement of 4-element magic expertise, you must have the guidance of the indigenous masters. Bai Pu now understands why Daizong wanders in various difficult spirit worlds to seek guidance from indigenous masters. After doing all this, Bai Pu returned to reality. In the clearance settlement interface, Bai Pu received with psychic points and popularity as usual. This time, his popularity in Damo Battle Academy is not high, only sea level, a little famous. The difficulty of the Damo world is too high, and Bai Pu is just a learner. But the title he got is quite interesting. Third type contact, sea level title. When wearing this title, you will have a shadow strike in every 10 attacks, which cannot be parried or blocked. The effect of this title is a bit similar to the group of Red Sands ghosts blessed by the true red power. I don't know where the title comes from, whether it is related to the demon god Saragar. Bai Pu then drew Xianlang's bloody treasure chest. As a level 9 hero profession, Xianlang is quite powerful. His bloody treasure chest gave Bai Pu 2 chances to draw. Bai Pu did not hesitate to exclude the 2 seemingly tempting options of storage space items and equipment. He had only one goal, to draw the honor of the Spirit World War. Xianlang is a major of Black Iron, and his honor value is more than 10,000 points. Even if he draws a part, Bai Pu should be able to be promoted to higher rank. In the final 2 draws, the luck was not good, but not bad. 1 card drew psychic points. 270,000. 1 card drew honor points. 3,496. Your rank is promoted to Black Iron Captain, 6,936, 10,000. When the honor value is increased to 10,000 points, you need to complete the relevant promotion tasks to be promoted to school-level officer. The rank of Black Iron Captain. Bai Pu saw the refreshed honor exchange items at the honor value exchange counter. Unfortunately, the honorary life potion and honorary energy potion that Bai Pu valued the most were still the lieutenant version, without any changes. It seems that only when the military rank is promoted to the next major stage will better quality potions appear. Bai Pu first replenished 2 bottles of lieutenant level honor potions, and then looked at the new goods on the counter. Hey, there is actually such a thing in the exchange items this time. Bai Pu exclaimed softly, and a fist-sized conch shell appeared on the shelf at the top of the counter. Bai Pu could see the description of the exchange items. Title conch, a rare item in the spiritual world. Put it to your ear and listen to the horn of the tide. Note, listen to it for at least 1 hour every day. Awakeners who listen to the title conch for a long time will comprehend the mystery of the tide. The higher the comprehension, the shorter the time required for comprehension. When an awakener successfully comprehends the mystery of the tide, the conch will break and disappear. Bai Pu was refreshed and wanted to exchange it immediately. Unfortunately, this is a rare and strange item that can only be exchanged by colonels, and Bai Pu does not have enough authority at this time. A rare item like this won't come out easily. Bai Pu knew that even though he could constantly enter and exit the spirit world with the help of the Duke of Scania's emblem and could often see the honor exchange counter, the exchange items in the counter were not refreshed every time. According to Bai Pu's observation, the items in the honor exchange counter should be refreshed once a month, except for the honor potion, which can be replenished as you buy it, but each awakener can only buy 1 bottle of each type, and cannot trade honor potions with other awakeners. I request to use the authority of the Black Iron Lieutenant. Oh no, the Black Iron Captain, to extend the lock time of the spiritual world rare item, title conch. Bai Pu checked the authority of the lieutenant, which included this one. If the lieutenant can do it, the captain can certainly do it better. With your rank, Black Iron Captain, you can extend the lock time of this rare item by up to 200%. You need to pay 20,000 spiritual energy points. Small money. Bai Pu agreed to pay directly, and the surface of the title conch was immediately coated with a layer of golden liquid light, as if it was stagnant. It was locked, and it would be refreshed only after 3 months when the lock status disappeared. My mission goal is to be promoted to colonel within 3 months and then buy this conch. Bai Pu thought silently. It's a pity that I can't ask my high-level awakened teammates to buy it for me. The exchange items swiped out at each person's military supplies exchange counter are independent. Even if Bai Pu pulled a colonel-level officer over, he couldn't see the contents of Bai Pu's counter, let alone help Bai Pu buy the title conch. With thoughts, Bai Pu returned to the real world. The first reaction was that his body was very light. The second reaction was that the world was very fragile. When Bai Pu walked, the soles of his feet left shallow depressions and spiderweb-like cracks on the brick and stone floor of the real world. He didn't deliberately exert force, but just felt that the real world had become brittle. With a leap of force, he could jump more than 10 meters high, and the gravity constraints of the real world seemed to be non-existent. How is it? Are you not used to it? Chief Nai appeared at some point and said with a smile. Bai Pu took a breath and sat on the sofa, so as not to break the sofa. I just broke through and became a high-level awakener. I came back from the high-intensity spiritual world and I am a little uncomfortable on Earth. Chief Nai said, some high-level awakeners dislike the thin spiritual particles on Earth and hide in the borderland for many years. Bai Pu recalled the uncomfortable feeling he had in the high-level borderland when he was still an intermediate awakener, and nodded. I think that high-level awakeners should also have the same uncomfortable feeling in the real world, just like a fish getting into a dirty mud pond. Chapter 508 Standing Members. Chief Nai came this time to ask Bai Pu something. In fact, I was worried about your professional plane test this time. Not long after you left, I received intelligence from the Special Service Bureau that several powerful characters were matched with you in the same world. It was originally difficult to transmit information between the high-level spiritual world and reality, but this did not pose a problem for the awakened people who were good at scheming. Not long after Bai Pu and Zai Lu confronted each other, the headquarters of Zhaixing Lu at the border, Huangxing Island received information that Xianlang and Zai Lu were matched with Bai Pu. The Superstar Alliance is not an airtight monolith, and the intelligence tentacles of the Special Service Bureau brought back this latest information without much effort. Bai Pu nodded slightly. They caused me some trouble, but they also brought me opportunities. It's good that you can come back safely and be promoted to a high-level awakened person. Chief Na looked at Bai Pu with appreciation. This young man was just a low-level awakened person who had just started a year ago, but now he is close to his level. What is the Superstar Alliance doing in the Downmo world? This is what Chief Nai wanted to ask this time. They contacted a group of orcs and sneaked into the Gajetsun Warrior Academy at night, trying to loot a large number of Dao Qi classics. Orcs? They should be the orc tribe in the eastern continent of Downmo world. These guys helped the orcs to seize the classics, and they should want to run Downmo world into a base for mass production of high-level awakeners. Chief Nai saw through the plan of the Superstar Alliance at a glance, because he had been following this matter. The Eastern Lock continent belongs to the intermediate area of Downmo world, right? Bai Pu said, even if they get the classics, the awakened ones will not be able to match the Lock continent when they have to undergo professional plane trials. They should use the native orcs. It is not convenient for awakened people to cross the boundaries of the middle and high-level spirit worlds, but the natives can. Chief Nai said. Bai Pu understood it at once and nodded. The natives have no restrictions on their learning ability. After the orcs get the classics, they can naturally practice. As long as the orcs become powerful, the Superstar Alliance will guide the orcs to develop into the high-level spirit world area and enter the Downmo Battle Academy plane, that is, the territory occupied by the Twin Star continent. At that time, if the awakeners who are undergoing the professional trials of the Superstar Alliance happen to match the professional direction of the Downmo world, they can directly find the orc outpost on the Twin Star continent and learn advanced Dao Qi cultivation methods from the orc strongmen. Their plan failed, and the orc tribe will soon be under great pressure. Bai Pu showed Chief Nai a battle record. Chief Nai glanced at it and suddenly widened his eyes in surprise. You actually shot and killed Xianlang. This guy's an S-level wanted criminal, and I didn't expect him to join the Superstar Alliance. You have made a great contribution again. Xianlang is S-level, so what level is the Dragon King? Bai Pu asked. The Dragon King is not a wanted criminal. He has no evidence of a crime on record. Even if he is a wanted criminal, he is at most S+, which is the highest level of wanted criminals in the Special Service Bureau. Chief Nai explained, Tianlang's strength is relatively weak among the S-level wanted criminals, but this criminal is very cruel. He cultivates the secret of killing, and in order to comprehend the true meaning of killing, he has committed too many murders. When the Special Service Bureau determines the wanted level of a criminal, it not only considers the strength, but also the other party's crimes. I killed Yan Lang. Can I get credit again in the Special Service Bureau? Bai Pu asked with a smile. You are a district counselor, so you should consider becoming a permanent counselor. You don't need to worry about being a special agent. P.S. It was originally called preparatory committee member, but it was changed to counselor to avoid official taboos. The previous standing committee member was changed to permanent counselor. I'm afraid it's impossible within 20 years. Bai Pu shook his head. District counselors can be added or deleted, but permanent counselors are different. One person has one job. There are currently 9 permanent counselors in the district, and it's too early for them to retire. Some permanent counselors knowingly break the law, making the entire Jiangnan district a mess, and the people are complaining. They should have been removed long ago. Chief Nai pointed out something. As long as these incompetent permanent counselors retire, you will have a great chance. Chief Kiao and I will strongly recommend you to become a permanent counselor. Chief Nai's assessment of Bai Pu's strength has quietly been raised to a higher level. He was just promoted, but he was able to kill the heavenly wolf. This strength is enough to gain a foothold in the high-level spiritual world. Thinking about Bai Pu's age, Chief Nai couldn't help but sigh and said, maybe, it won't be long before you can't adapt to life on Earth. Bai Pu is already a little unable to adapt, and he directly enters his own territory, the junction of the giant fern mountain. The concentration of spiritual energy particles in the outside world is too low. The advanced awakeners have practiced advanced fighting methods, and the fighting energy in their bodies is constantly running on their own, exchanging with the spiritual energy particles in the outside world to maintain the vitality of the fighting energy. This is similar to the breathing of ordinary people, inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. However, the spiritual energy particles of the advanced awakeners in the outside world of the earth are not enough, and it feels like breathing with several layers of masks, which is very stuffy. Bai Pu felt a little more comfortable when he entered the junction of the giant fern mountain. However, it is still not as good as the advanced spiritual world. For Bai Pu, the giant fern mountain is just a less turbid ditch, while the advanced spiritual world is an infinite river and sea. Bai Pu decided that if there is nothing to do in the future, he will stay in the giant fern mountain in the real world. The affairs of the outside world will be handed over to the practical officer, that is, Li Ling. Bai Pu's position as a regional counselor is now quite stable, and Li Ling, as his practical officer, is also in power. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Li Ling, who comes from an ordinary background. There are too many people who are jealous of Li Ling and want to replace her, but they can't even see Bai Pu. Li Ling works for Bai Pu with all her heart and responsibility. During this period of time, Li Ling has purchased more than a dozen blue clothes, and also purchased a B-level enhancement card from an intermediate awakener, which is a pleasant surprise. Bai Pu took these things and went to the spirit world through the Duke's emblem. In the return interface, he carried out another wave of enhancements. He prioritized the enhancement of the Iron Horn Helmet of the Immortal King. This helmet has the skill of strong enemy sensing, which can know the sum of the opponent's 4 surrounding attributes. For Bai Pu, who lacks detection means, it is a necessary equipment. The only drawback is that the data given by strong enemy sense is too rough, with only a dry attribute sum. The total attributes of a level 7 Lord and a level 8 Enhanced Warrior are actually very similar, but the actual combat power of a level 7 Lord is much stronger than that of a level 8 Enhanced Warrior. Priority, combat expertise, ultimate level, combat skill system, these things cannot be given by strong enemy sense. Bai Pu specially strengthened the helmet just to take a gamble and see if the +7 special effect can be upgraded to strong enemy sense, to get more accurate pre-war intelligence. Chapter 509, The Practice of Demon Refining Sand. Iron Horn Helmet of the Immortal King +7, Basic Attribute Skills, omitted, +7 Special Effect, Accurate Perception, passive, the target in your field of vision will display different colors according to different templates. After staring at the opponent for 2 seconds, the precise attributes of the target's surroundings will be displayed. After staring at the opponent for 5 seconds, the target's comprehensive combat power will be displayed. Note 1, Ordinary Template, White, Elite Template, Blue, Warrior Template, Gold, Lord Template, Dark gold. Note 2. Comprehensive combat power refers to the comprehensive value after the target specialty attribute is multiplied by the corresponding combat expertise, secret, skill, and title, which has a high degree of accuracy. However, the opponent's equipment skills, item abilities, and recovery food are not taken into consideration. Bai Pu read it carefully and breathed a sigh of relief. He made the right bet. The helmet is enhanced +7, and the enhanced skill is strong enemy sensing, instead of firm heart. In this way, Bai Pu can accurately judge the opponent's strength. If it is firm heart that is enhanced, it will be much worse. Firm heart only increases the priority of immunity to mind level control, which is slightly unpopular. Bai Pu exited the settlement interface and returned to the junction of the giant fern mountain. While familiarizing himself with the +7 special effects of the helmet, he practiced the ultimate skill, Sand of Magic Refining. He possessed the mastery level of the Mountain Collapse ultimate skill, which met the prerequisites for practice. Bai Pu used up the skill book and quickly comprehended this new ultimate skill, and condensed the first group of magic sand. Sand of Magic Refining, ultimate skill. The magic sand you condense can be combined as you wish. When used as an attack form, each piece of magic sand causes 100% basic earth magic damage, based on your spiritual attributes, and according to the relevant combination form, it causes additional physical mixed damage. When used as a defensive form, each piece of magic sand absorbs 100% of external damage, refreshed once per second. When you use magic sand as a medium to cast a large-scale earth magic, the magic power consumption is reduced by 50%, but the magic power remains unchanged. One piece of magic sand, composed of 7,000 extremely fine sand grains, is about a handful of Bai Pu's palm. Sand of Magic Refining has a dual effect. First, Bai Pu can manipulate the magic sand he has refined it will to form means of attack, defense, etc. Under normal manipulation, the magic power consumed is very slight, because the essence of magic sand is sand that has condensed a lot of magic power, and the effort is behind the stage. However, once it is used in battle, the magic power contained in the magic sand will be consumed after causing damage or absorbing damage. Bai Pu must replenish the magic power for the magic sands in time after each battle. Second, you can use magic sand as a medium to cast earth magic, which consumes half the magic power, but the magic power will not change. The skill level just realized is level 2, limit breaker +1, and Bai Pu's upper limit for condensing magic sand is 2. At the beginning, the skills are upgraded quickly. For level 3 skills, you can condense 5 copies, and at level 4, it is increased to 10 copies. With Bai Pu's 74 points of spirit at this time, the magic damage of a single height of the level 2 skill is 148 points. However, there is also magic sand transformed into a weapon, causing physical attack damage. When added together, it should be able to reach 300 points of theoretical damage, mixed type. When it reaches level 4, the mixed damage is about 1,500 points. If the skill is upgraded to level 7, the total amount of magic sand can reach 100 portions. If it can be hide at once, the mixed damage caused is as high as 15,000 points. Of course, this exaggerated number is only the theoretical upper limit, because Bai Pu's mental power cannot mobilize 100 portions of magic sand at the same time, and even high-level spiritual lords may not be able to do it. Bai Pu is now a high-level awakener, and he has the mastery level of the Mountain Collapse secret as a foundation. The efficiency of practicing demon sand is very fast. After practicing for a few days, he successfully cultivated the demon sand to level 3, and it is level 4 with a limit breaker, and extracted a wave of side effects. Perhaps it was because Bai Pu cultivated this skill based on the secret of Collapse Mountain. After demon sand reached level 4, the secret special effects that appeared included the option of Collapse Mountain. Explosion Sand, activate the magic power condensed in the demon sand to perform a powerful explosion attack. This attack is amplified by the power of Collapse Mountain. Note, the magic sand you use for explosion attack will be irreversibly damaged and cannot be repeatedly infused with magic power. What is the power increase of Collapse Mountain? Bai Pu is currently at the mastery level, 180%. In other words, if Bai Pu uses all 10 magic sands for explosion attack at once, it can cause about 4,200 points of mixed damage, and inherit the effect of Collapse Mountain secret to ignore shields, etc. Of course, the cost is also quite high. After the explosion attack, the magic sand is wasted and can only be condensed again. Bai Pu can only condense 2 magic sands a day. In the past few days, he has practiced the skill to level 4 and has only accumulated 7 magic sands. This is a big move, so use it with caution. However, this is also one of Bai Pu's few long-range powerful attack methods, which makes up for some of Bai Pu's shortcomings. On this day, when Bai Pu was refining the magic sand, he suddenly felt a call from his heart. Great Source Lord, your apostles have prepared rich sacrifices and pray for your arrival. Bai Pu closed his eyes, and a ray of spiritual light followed the mysterious path in the dark and pointed to a distant spiritual plane. Xiangsha World. Red-clothed senior, we have arrived at Yuwang Mountain. Where does your master live? Ningfu Princess Zhao Chuanzhu, carrying a large box on her back, followed Qin's footsteps, moving forward with 1 foot deep and 1 foot shallow, and asked breathlessly. Silence, in fact, your every move is under the watchful eyes of the master. When you show enough sincerity, the master will naturally appear. Qin looked serious. Qin's heart, this kind of spell to invite the gods to come, should it be done by setting up an altar, offering sacrifices, and opening a portal? Why did she have to take a native with a world signpost and walk through mountains and rivers for 5 days? But counting the days, they have already walked for 5 days. It's time to take her to the destination. Qin led Ningfu Digi around a col and came to a valley with a gurgling stream. The road was winding, and the birds were singing and the flowers were fragrant. A slightly old thatched cottage came into view. Hey, there is a thatched cottage here, why didn't I see it before? Ningfu Digi was shocked. Qin was also a little confused. This thatched cottage was built in advance according to the prompts of the spirit world. When she was walking in the mountains for the first 5 days, the thatched cottage disappeared. Qin thought that the cottage was a sacrifice. Unexpectedly, the thatched cottage appeared again today, and it looked very simple and fairy-like, with no signs of being newly built. With a creaking sound, a young man in white walked out of the thatched cottage. Chapter 510 Master. Someone is here. Princess Zhao Chuanzhu of Ningfu is extremely surprised. She noticed that the young man in white was extremely handsome. Judging from his age, he should be a disciple of a master. Sure enough, the disciples of the hermit master all have such grace and demeanor. This master is really extraordinary. This little brother, may I ask? As soon as Zhao Chuanzhu opened her mouth, Qin knelt down and saluted. Hongai greets master. Hongai is Qin's code name, and it is also the name Qin gave herself when she walked in the Xiangsha world. And this young man in white is naturally Bai Pu. This set of words in front of him was discussed by Qin and Bai Pu after he learned the conditions of the Source Master's Advent ceremony in the Xiangsha world. Master. Zhao Chuanzhu was stunned. Could this extremely young man in white be a first-class immortal? Bai Pu coughed lightly. Hong Yi, you have distracting thoughts and are not good at learning. Your master asked you to come down the mountain. Why do you come up the mountain again? Qin said, the barbarians are in chaos in the central plains, the mountains and rivers are broken, and the country is overturned. Disciple asks master to come out of the mountain. This is the family affair of the Zhaosong royal family. What does it have to do with me? Bai Pu still has to keep a certain attitude, otherwise he will not be taken seriously in the new Song camp. Ningfu Princess Zhao Chuanzhu stepped forward and bowed with tears in her eyes. The Jin people are unjust, burning, killing, looting and doing all kinds of evil. Senior, I hope you will come out of the mountain to guide and rebuild the country for the sake of hundreds of millions of people. The rise and fall of the country is destined. Thinking back to the chaos at the end of the Han Dynasty, Zhu Wuhao worked hard but failed to revive the Han Dynasty. Why should I waste my energy and do something that defies fate? Bai Pu still shook his head. The amount of information revealed in this passage also made Zhao Chuanzhu excited. This senior actually compared himself to Zhu Wuhao, which shows that he is a man of great talent. And according to the red-clothed senior, Qin, her master has unparalleled magical powers. Such a great man of both civil and military skills is even more powerful than Zhu Liang. If the senior is willing to come out of seclusion and help my Zhao family restore the country, the court will definitely offer you a high position and generous salary in the future, and it will not be a problem to divide the land and become a king. Zhao Chuanzhu requested for the second time. Bai Pu shook his head and said, the wealth and honor in the world are like floating clouds to me. Zhao Chuanzhu looked embarrassed. She had been rejected twice. This third time, She had to think carefully. 3 times is the limit. If she is rejected by the senior for the 3rd time, she should never be able to ask this senior to come out of seclusion again. Qin whispered something in Zhao Chuanzu's ear. Zhao Chuanzu's heart moved, and he bowed down again. If you can come out of seclusion to help, on the day when my Zhao family restores the country, we will build temples for you all over the country, and let people in the world chant your name. Bai Pu smiled and nodded. Forget it. Seeing your sincerity, I can agree to your coming out of seclusion, but you need to meet one condition of mine. Please give me your instructions, senior. From now on, all military and national strategies will be decided by me, and everyone must abide by it, even the emperor is no exception. Since you have asked you to come out of seclusion, naturally everything will be based on you. Zhao Chuanzu shook his head and said sadly, it's just that my father and brother have been captured now, there is no emperor. Bai Pu said, those who were captured are just 2 tyrants. If you want an emperor, just establish one. Since you are a princess and have royal blood, it is not a bad idea to make you the empress and follow the story of Wu Zhou. Zhao Chuanzu's pupils trembled. This senior is either a lunatic who is ignorant of the immensity of the world, or a great man with a broad mind who looks down on the world like a chessboard. Zhao Chuanzu believes that it is definitely the latter. Apart from other things, the mysterious and unpredictable magical power displayed by Qin when he rescued her from Bianjing City is the strongest person Zhao Chuanzu has ever seen in her life. And such a strong man, in the mouth of her master, the young senior in white, only received the 8-character comment of having distracting thoughts and poor skills. What the senior said about supporting the new monarch is indeed feasible, but I definitely can't do it. I am a girl, and my father and brother have left many descendants. How can I be a hen crowing at dawn? Zhao Chuanzu said. The royal children of Zhaosong were all captured by the Jin people. Except for you, where's the royal blood? Bai Pu shook his head. Qin said quickly, Master, the princess told me that there is a 28th Prince Zhao Yu hiding in the palace, and he has not been found by the Jin soldiers yet. My 28th brother is only 8 years old this year. I don't know how dangerous it will be for him to be alone in the palace occupied by the enemy. Zhao Chuanzu was about to cry. Since the prince is here, we must rescue him. Bai Pu said. Disciple also thinks so, but we are outnumbered, so I want to ask Master to help rescue the 28th prince. Qin said cooperatively. Okay. Let's go and rescue him first. How many people can you use now? Bai Pu asked. Zhao Chuanzu said, according to the advice of the senior in red, we have gathered civil and military officials who are still loyal to the court. There are about 100 strong servants in the families of these officials, but they have never been in battle and are not very useful. After a pause, Zhao Chuanzu said, however, some Jianghu gangs that are loyal to the court have also sent many good players, such as the Iron Rod Gang, the Golden Sword Gate, the Xiao Gang. A group of rabble. Before Bai Pu came, he had already learned about these Jianghu gangs through the piano. Xiangsha, the world of the Jikang incident is a martial arts plane, with a martial arts world as the theme, and the war between Song and Jin and the Jikang incident are the general trend of the world. In this martial arts world, first-class masters are generally mid-level enhanced leaders, serving as gang leaders in large gangs, such as Luo Qianhu, the leader of the Iron Rod Gang, the Iron Beggar. The gang elders below are at the leader level. Going up, the super first-class masters are all legendary figures in the martial arts world, and they are usually invisible. For example, Xianjian and Daoxin are speculated to be Lord-level masters. The Xiangsha world is similar to the Xingmo world. Both are worlds with inherited mysteries. The strength of the natives is stronger than other spiritual masters of the same level. However, Qin is still very strong in the Xiangsha world. She is a level 6 enhanced hero. She has obtained the attribute enhancement of Bai Pu's source blood, the skills of the limit breaker, and has comprehended the mysteries of blood. Compared with those first-class masters who have mastered the mysteries, such as Taigai Luo Qianhu, she is not inferior at all. This is also the reason why Qin can still take the lead after the leaders of the Taigai and other gangs gathered in Bianjing to serve the king. If she was not strong enough, she would have been replaced long ago. Seeing that Bai Pu agreed to go out, Zhao Chuanzu was very happy and handed the big box he was carrying to Bai Pu. Bai Pu opened it, and the box was full of gold bars, silver ingots, gold beads, jade and other treasures. They are all precious metals in the spiritual world. Bai Pu was a little excited. Although he did not lack spiritual energy points, no one would complain about having too much money. However, when Bai Pu tried to put away the box of gold and silver treasures in the spiritual world, he received a prompt. You are receiving the sacrifice of the Source Master this time. The spiritual energy particles contained in this sacrifice will be used to exchange for your free residence time in this world. Please wait. Exchange completed. You have obtained 5 days, 14 hours and 22 minutes of free residence time. Chapter 511, Gangs. Bai Pu was startled, and then he looked at the box again. The gold and silver inside were still there, but they were all gray, as if they had lost their spirituality. These gold and silver were no different from ordinary gold and silver on Earth in the real world. Sure enough, there is no such good thing. Bai Pu sighed secretly, and then left Yuwang Mountain accompanied by his disciple Qin and Princess Zhao Chuansu. In the suburbs of Beijing, in a manner of Shangshu Yao Chang Li Gang, the martial arts heroes of Hebei gathered here. He Li, who came in from the dog, brought disaster to the country and the people. If he hadn't mistakenly believed in the demon, how could the Jingu attack the high walls of Beijing? This may not be a mistake. Maybe He Li is working with the Jin people from inside and outside. That's right. And that traitor Zhang Bangcheng, isn't he also a civil servant? Now he has been made emperor by the Jingu. Civil servants are all bad. That's too much. Shangshu Li is still a good one. That's right. Indoors. Li Gang, the right chancellor of the Shangshu, heard the discussion outside and looked at Bai Pu with an awkward smile. Are you really the master of the girl in red? What does Shangshu Li mean? Can I still cheat my master and claim to be his teacher? Qin raised her eyebrows and said, I dare not, but this master looks too young. Li Gang obviously did not believe in the ghost stories of immortals, and asked tentatively, I wonder what your name is. My surname is Bai. My Taoist name is Bai Yujing. Bai Pu made up a suitable pseudonym for himself. The Bai Yujing in the sky has 12 towers and 5 cities. The immortal stroked my head and I received immortality. You are called Bai Yujing. I wonder if you have any immortal means. Li Gang continued to test. It is no wonder that Li Gang is cautious. The previous Prime Minister He Li, who mistakenly believed in the demon, lost Beijing and would definitely be infamous for thousands of years. Li Gang is not interested in being a pair of crouching dragon and phoenix with He Li. Bai Pu raised his hand, and the magic sand turned into a sharp blade of sand, cutting the Huanghuli wood table in front of him into 2 pieces. Then the magic sand swirled in Bai Pu's palm, turned into a small sandstorm, and disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, Li Gang was greatly encouraged and said, Good tricks, even if you are not an immortal, I am afraid you are also a top-notch master in the martial arts world. After a rough discussion, Li Gang led Bai Pu to the hall where the heroes were and introduced Bai Pu's origins to everyone. Although the heroes were skeptical, no one dared to come out and stab. The reason is very simple. A few days ago, Qin had already demonstrated his strength. He was a top-notch master who could rival the iron beggar Luo Qianhu. Qin actually performed the etiquette of a disciple in front of the mysterious young man in white Bai Yujing, which means that the other party must be difficult to mess with. Even if there were doubts in their hearts, no one dared to gamble their lives on the other party's water. We are all gathered here to save our Song dynasty. Now the situation is critical and the country is hanging. We must first enter the palace and rescue the royal bloodline. Li Gang said loudly, the traitor Zhang Bangcheng has now been established as the emperor of the Great Shu by the Golden Dog and controls the palace. This guy likes to win over the masters of the martial arts world and has many capable people under his command. For example, the 5 tigers of Zhou and the 4 evils of Zhangjiang River should not be underestimated. Before he finished speaking, the heroes had already started to make a fuss. Luo Qianhu, the leader of the Iron Rod Gang, Iron Beggar, stood up and signaled everyone to be quiet. This man was very proud, so the heroes immediately shut up and listened to Luo Qianhu's high speech. Luo Qianhu was tall and thin, with dark skin, messy hair, and patches on his clothes. He spoke loudly, Minister Li, there is no need to talk about these clowns. All the heroes present don't take them seriously at all. As soon as Luo Qianhu opened his mouth, he won a round of applause. This is the people of the martial arts world, 1 point of ability, 10 points of bragging. On the contrary, the masters with real strength know that there are always people better than you, and they can remain humble and cautious. Li Gang nodded and said, in that case, I won't say much about these people in the martial arts world. But Zhang Bangchang still has 1,000 gold soldiers under his command. What should we do? Luo Qianhu asked. Do those 1,000 gold dogs have air-breaking crossbows? Golden dogs attach great importance to war and have always been well equipped. 1,000 gold dogs must have strong bows and hard crossbows. Luo Qianhu frowned. This is a bit troublesome. Bai Pu has stared at Luo Qianhu with strong enemy sense. Gold represents the template of the enhanced leader, strength 94, agility 77, endurance 58, and spirit 54 are his precise attributes. After staring for 5 seconds, the strong enemy sense gave Luo Qianhu's comprehensive combat power value 2,165. This is the new comprehensive combat power value, which is obtained by comprehensively considering the target's various combat skills, and ultimate bonuses based on the total attributes. It is different from the original, strong enemy sense, combat power value calculation standard. Bai Pu couldn't see his own combat power value, but he had Qin as a reference. Qin's total attribute was 284 points, which was similar to Luo Qianhu, and the comprehensive combat power value is 2,104. Qin's advantage lies in the level of expertise, while Luo Qianhu's advantage lies in the ability to protect his body with a true key granted by the world beacon. Looking around the entire hall, there were almost no people with a combat power of 2,000. The combat power values of most of the light gold names, leader templates, fluctuated around 1,500 points. Just as Bai Pu was silently collecting intelligence, someone suddenly came to report in a hurry. Oh no! Master Xiao of the Golden Sword sect took several disciples to the palace. Xiaoyuang? Why didn't he inform everyone and acted on his own? Luo Qianhu was still thinking about a proper strategy, and when he heard the news, his eyes suddenly went dark. Immediately, a disciple of the Iron Rod Gang questioned the Golden Sword sect. What's wrong with your leader? He actually made arbitrary decisions on such a military and national matter. Xiao Jifei, the eldest disciple of the Golden Sword sect, said nonchalantly, so what? An old man next to him pulled the corner of Xiao Jifei's clothes and smiled and bowed to everyone. When rescuing people in the palace, good hands are more important than quantity. Our leader thinks that if he brings too many people, it will be too conspicuous. Humph. Someone snorted, and everyone could guess Xiaoyuang's thoughts. Everyone was still racking their brains to rescue the prince, but Xiaoyuang had already rescued the person. When the time comes, all the martial arts heroes will become stepping stones for Xiaoyuang of the Golden Sword sect. Li Gang frowned. Senior Bai, gang leader Luo. It's better to send good hands to respond as soon as possible. If Master Xiao fails, it will be troublesome, and the 28th prince will be exposed directly under the eyes of the Golden Dog. Everyone stood up. The people from the Golden Sword sect, however, had a sneer on their faces. It was obvious that they had full confidence in their leader and were waiting for Xiaoyuang to come back to rescue them so that they could give these people a slap in the face. No matter what, after this battle, the Golden Sword sect would become famous and it would be possible for them to catch up with the Iron Rod Gang. Chapter 512 Congratulations in advance on taking over the leader. Byam-jing, the Imperial Palace. When the heroes arrived, the situation in the Imperial Palace was completely different from what everyone expected. Xiaoyuang, the leader of the Golden Sword sect, was left with only a headless corpse, nailed to the palace gate by a spear. Several of his disciples were still fighting bloody battles, but they had been forced into a dead end. If the Jin soldiers had not wanted to capture a live person, these disciples would have turned into hedgehogs long ago. Bai Pu glanced at Xiao Jifei, the eldest disciple of the Golden Sword sect. Well, this eldest disciple of the Golden Sword sect should be able to congratulate him in advance and take over the position of the leader of the Golden Sword sect. However, Xiao Jifei did not have a happy expression at all, and his face was frighteningly pale. How is it possible? How is it possible? Master is so good at martial arts, how could he lose to the Golden Dog? If Xiaoyuang died under the intensive shooting of the broken air crossbow, Xiao Jifei could still accept it. But now, looking at Xiaoyuang's death, it is obvious that he was beheaded by someone in a head-on confrontation. Bai Pu looked up and saw a tall and strong man standing in front of the screen wall of the inner courtyard. He was 2 meters tall, wearing a wolf-tooth helmet and heavy armor. He held a crescent-shaped longsword in his hand, and there was still traces of blood on the blade. The name of this golden general was reflected in Bai Pu's vision. Che Li Bu Hui, gold, strength 100, agility 67, endurance 80, Spirit 33 gold name, representing the template of the enhanced leader. After staring for 5 seconds, the comprehensive combat power of the Golden General Che Li Bu Hua also appeared. 2005. It is about 200 less combat power than Tai Gai and Qin, but facing most leaders with combat power around 1500, the advantage is still obvious. The disciples of the Golden Sword sect, led by Xiao Jifei, were the first to rush into the battle. Other martial arts heroes also joined in, and even the members of the Iron Rod gang waved iron rods and fought with the Golden Soldiers. Bai Pu discovered that these Jin soldiers had no disadvantages when facing the martial arts heroes. They were quite brave and all had white names, which meant that they had the attributes of ordinary templates, which were completely different from civilians without templates. 3 Jin soldiers would form a team, with one person in the middle holding a wooden shield for defense, and 2 people on the left and right holding spears for stabbing. They cooperated very well, just like a martial arts master with 3 heads and 6 arms. Most of the martial arts heroes were elite templates. Although they had a special professional energy slot of true ki and a flexible fighting style, they felt that they had nowhere to start when facing the battle formation formed by 3 Jin soldiers. They fought against the loss of true ki and even got injured. After solving a 3-person battle formation, 2 battle formations immediately filled it. Elite martial arts masters could not be invulnerable after all. They would still be injured and bleed if stabbed by spears. If a few spears were stabbed into the stomach, there was only one way to death. Even leaders like the 4 elders of the Iron Staff gang could only do their best to protect themselves under the siege of some elite Jin soldiers. It was impossible to quickly break the situation. There were also martial arts masters among the Jin soldiers. The 5 tigers of Zihua and the 4 evils of Xiangxi were well known and were the first-class shameless people. They wore Jin soldiers' uniforms and hid among them. Occasionally, they would make a vicious attack, forcing the heroes of the Central Plains to be careful everywhere. Seeing that the situation was tense and the subsequent Jin soldiers were coming in an endless stream, the Iron Beggar Luo Qian who knew that he could not delay any longer, so he turned around and whispered, "Red-clothed girl, you and your master, go with the old beggar." "Hey? Where is your master?" Qin smiled and said, "Master has some small things to do, and will be back soon. Luo gang leader, I will rush into the battle with you and kill the Golden Dog General first." The 2 enhanced leader-level strongmen came down at the same time, and their power was extraordinary. Luo Qian, whose iron staff had the power to split stones and crack monuments. When he raised his hand, a heavy shadow of the staff fell. The shield-bearing Jin soldiers tried to block it, but they were blown away with their shields. The 3-man battle formation collapsed without attacking. Luo Qian, who swept the iron staff left and right, and the bones of the 2 Jin soldiers' spearmen on the left and right became soft and collapsed, and they were killed instantly. Qin's method was even more bizarre and unpredictable. She raised her hand and released a blood-colored energy wave, which bounced between the Jin soldiers. Those who were hit were pale, as if a lot of blood had been drained away, and fell into a negative state. Qin then clenched her 5 fingers lightly, and the blood ball exploded. A circle of blood-colored ripples spread, killing 7 or 8 Jin soldiers. The foreign language sounded, and the Jin soldiers General Che Li Bu Hua jumped into the field with a roar, and chopped Luo Qian with a big knife. Ling. The 2 fought hard, and at the same time felt their bodies shaken violently, and their faces were both stern. They all put away their thoughts of underestimating the enemy, and fought cautiously with each move. Che Li Bu Hua was a man of blood and courage, with great force and power. Luo Jinwei also took the path of external strength, but he was better at light work and flexible, and he disdained to fight with Che Li Bu Hua. The Jin soldiers were numerous and powerful, and they could have formed a formation to restrict Luo Jinwei. But Qin shot a series of blood arrows, and each arrow would form a strange and cold energy after hitting the approaching Jin soldiers, and directly invaded the target's heart. One by one, the Jin soldiers fell down with screams, and for a while, no one dared to rush over. The battle between the 2 sides continued to maintain a tense state, but the situation had developed in a favorable direction for the Central Plains martial arts heroes. The Iron Beggar had a certain advantage over the Jin general, but it took a little patience to turn this advantage into a winning advantage. Swish! The tip of the Iron Beggar's iron staff pierced Che Li Bu Hua's shoulder socket. Although there was still an inch or 2 between them, Tai Gai mobilized his true energy, and a sharp edge shot out through the tip of his staff, making a dent in Che Li Bu Hua's shoulder. Che Li Bu Hua cried out in pain. But Qin understood clearly that this was a signal for his Jin soldiers to send out. Behind the screen wall, a firework signal shot up into the sky and exploded in the night sky. Qin did not stop it. After all, they were too far apart. She and Taigai just stepped up the beating of Che Li Bu Hua. However, Che Li Bu Hua, who had sent out a distress signal, only defended and did not attack, and for a while he actually blocked most of Taigai's attacks. It was Qin's blood magic that could bypass Che Li Bu Hua's broadsword defense and cause some damage. But these injuries were just flesh wounds for a battlefield general like Che Li Bu Hua, who was thick-skinned and not afraid at all. In the fierce battle, the sound of a horn sounded, and two more teams of Jin soldiers came from the left and right to encircle him. The two leading generals of the Jin army were actually too strong and muscular. Why are there two more? Luo Qianhu said in a lost voice. The intelligence clearly said that the generals left by Jingu and Bianjing City were only Che Li Bu Hua. The situation on the battlefield reversed again. The addition of the new Jin army made the Central Plains heroes, who were already at a disadvantage, fall into disadvantage and could only struggle to hold on. However, the two new Jin army generals used their weapons to kill the Central Plains heroes, leaving heads rolling and blood all over the ground. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 513, There is no difference. The generals in the Xiangsha world are much more powerful than those in martial arts novels. After all, this is the spirit world, not a martial arts novel. Generals are not the foils of martial arts masters, but they take different routes from martial arts masters and can compete with them. The generals are strong and vigorous. While training their strength day after day, they also cultivate a rough energy similar to fighting spirit, external ki. Although the generals' moves are not as strange and changeable as those of martial arts masters, they are upright and powerful, and they are not inferior to the attacks of martial arts masters with true ki. These two golden generals have not ridden horses yet. If they sit high on horses, they can look down from above and use the power of their mounts to sprint with a considerable power bonus, and martial arts masters will not dare to confront them head-on. The two leader-level elders of the Iron Rod Gang also want to use King Guan to play their agility advantage to fight against the enemy. But the two Jinbin generals are themselves masters of enhanced leader level, and there are a group of wolf-toothed iron cavalry around them. As soon as the wolf-fang iron cavalry raised their hands, lassos flew out one after another. The lassos were like spirit snakes, and each one covered a large area of airspace. The two elders of the Iron Rod Gang tried their best to dodge 3 or 5 lassos, but there were dozens of wolf-fang iron cavalry throwing lassos at them at the same time. Seeing that the situation was not good, the black-clothed elder slapped the other person on the back with a palm, and used soft power to shake him away, saving his companion's life. Chi-chi. More than 10 lassos were put on the black-clothed elder at the same time, dragging him over without any suspense. This is the sadness of martial arts masters facing elite troops. Without the power of crushing level, it is useless to have skills. The golden general who led the wolf-fang iron cavalry, holding a black halberd, stabbed with a grim smile. Elder Wu. The gray-clothed elder who was rescued had tears in his eyes and screamed. Sand. A cloud of sand and dust surged in and turned into a round sand shield in the air. With a bang, the black spear hit the sand shield, but could not move forward. The next second, the golden sands floated away, turning into flying sand knives, which easily cut the lasso and rescued Elder Wu in black. Who is it? This black spear and golden general, who actually understood the Central Plains Chinese, asked immediately. You are not worthy of knowing who I am. However, you should recognize the head of this traitor. The gentle voice carried a power that was hard to ignore. Everyone in the field stopped for a moment and looked over. A young man in white was carrying a child of 8 or 9 years old on his back. The child was dressed luxuriously, lying on the back of the young man in white, sleeping soundly. In front of the young man in white, there was a thin layer of sand, holding a head with the gray hair and beard, floating in the air. The head with gray hair and beard still showed the terrified look on his face before death. This is the head of Zhang Bangchang, the Emperor of Great Shu. The blackboard general said in a lost voice, You actually killed Zhang Bangchang. As soon as these words came out, the martial arts heroes immediately cheered. Good. Zhang Bangchang, The traitor died well. What Emperor of Great Shu? He is clearly a puppet emperor established by Yujin dogs. He deserves to die. Master Yujing is very good. The Blackboard General Jin Bingyu and the other two Jin generals looked at each other, all with frowns. Zhang Bangcheng was the emperor of Great Shu who was canonized when Marshal Wanai and Zhongwang withdrew. Although the Jin generals looked down on Zhang Bangcheng, with this person, at least they could discuss the various troops of the Song dynasty who came to support the king. Unexpectedly, before the troops of the king arrived, Zhang Bangcheng was beheaded by the martial arts masters of the Central Plains. Che Li Buho suddenly said something in a gibberish. Qin said, "Master, this Tartar said that Zhang Bangcheng is surrounded by martial arts masters from the Central Plains and a group of Jin soldiers. You can't kill him. This head is fake." Bai Pu raised his hand and pointed, and the gravel carried Zhang Bangcheng's head and flew towards Che Li Buho. Che Li Buho held a broadsword horizontally and caught Zhang Bangcheng's head with a wide blade. He took a closer look and his face suddenly changed. From his expression, everyone had already judged that this was indeed Zhang Bangcheng's head. Bai Pu said slowly, "Zhang Bangcheng is surrounded by a group of people to protect him. However, since I want to kill Zhang Bangcheng, it doesn't matter whether he has guards or not." If someone else said this, it would be too arrogant. However, Bai Pu's calm and slow words had a convincing power, and the heroes were all impressed by the extraordinary means of this Yujing immortal master. HMPH, I want to see if you, a young boy, are just bragging. The Black Hole Jin General Jin Bingyu shouted, "My men, follow me." Whether it was the ordinary Jin soldiers at the beginning or the Wolf Fang cavalry that arrived later, they all shouted and charged forward. Bai Pu shook his head slightly. The next second, a huge sandstorm suddenly swept over and covered the entire battlefield. Sandfall Field. In the Sandfall Field, the martial arts heroes of the Central Plains felt as light as a swallow and their speed increased greatly. On the other hand, the Jin soldiers were like carrying a heavy object, and every step took a lot of effort. The three Jin generals could still move, but Qin stood in front of them, and the blood-colored energy arrows shot at them with the power of the mystery of blood. The Jin generals were unable to dodge and could only bear it. Then the mystery of blood affected their blood circulation, and their movements frequently became stuck. In this situation, let alone leading the soldiers to fight, it was difficult to take care of their own safety. The Iron Beggar led the Central Plains martial arts heroes to continuously kill the Jin soldiers, which was a great pleasure. Qin quietly asked Bai Pu, "Dio, don't you want to get some treasure chests?" Bai Pu shook his head and replied, "I have tried it when I went to assassinate Zhang Bangcheng and rescued the 28th prince just now. I killed 2 leaders and didn't even see the shadow of the treasure chest. Is it because your strength is too strong? It shouldn't be. In the Xiangsha world, my level is limited to level 6, and even the attributes are the attributes of level 6. It's the skill level that has broken through the limit of level 6. It should be the influence of the hidden title of Limit Breaker." Bai Pu thought for a while and said, "It should be the reason for the advent of the Source Master. In the Xiangsha world, I may have lost some characteristics of the Awakener, so killing strong enemies will not explode treasure chests, and I didn't even get any psychic points. Is that so?" Qin was a little disappointed, thinking to himself, could this be an adjustment made by the will of the spiritual world for balance? Bai Pu was open-minded, "It doesn't matter. The purpose of the Source Master's coming is just to let me collect legendary points more efficiently. As for the treasure chests in the intermediate spirit world, they are no longer of great significance to me. It is you who should take more treasure chests with my help." Bai Pu manipulated the magic sand to fly to Qin's body surface, helping her form a layer of shield to absorb damage. With this treatment, Qin's attack became more unbridled. She even prepared a powerful magic in front of the 3 gold generals, Blood Ripple. The rapidly spreading deathly gray energy directly shocked the most seriously injured gold general Che Li Buho to death. Chapter 514 King Kang. The battle in the palace ended quickly. Under the coverage of Bai Pu's sand waterfall area, the Central Plains martial arts heroes, who had greatly increased their strength, killed all the Jin soldiers who suffered from the sandstorm. Bai Pu also helped Qin to capture the Jin general who led the Wolf Fang Iron Cavalry, Haitong Jin Bingyu. The Jin soldiers lost their leader and were naturally defeated. They were chased and killed by the Iron Rod Gang and other martial arts masters. The Jin soldiers were able to fight against the martial arts masters because they had a unified command and a battle formation of 3. Without a command, The scattered soldiers were a piece of cake when facing the martial arts masters. No one noticed that when the martial arts masters were chasing the defeated soldiers, 2 people from the Iron Rod gang quietly left. Bai Pu did not follow up and kill them. With his status, he could not do such a thing that was unmannerly. Anyway, Bai Pu would not drop a treasure chest when killing the enemy, so he ignored it. Your name is Jin Bingyu. Qin helped Bai Pu interrogate the captured Jin general. So what? Hey Tong, Jin Bingyu said coldly without even looking at Qin, I am not your prisoner, you have no right to ask me. You were captured by me, how can you not be my prisoner? If it weren't for the help of the man in white, you would have no chance to perform that evil martial arts. Jin Bingyu shouted. It was indeed as he said. In the battle just now, it was Bai Pu's long-range ultimate skill that suppressed Jin Bingyu's consciousness and forced him to disconnect. Qin's blood magic power took advantage of the opportunity and squeezed Jin Bingyu's heart hard, causing him to be injured and vomit blood, and lose his fighting power. At this time, Qin's blood magic power was still entrenched in Jin Bingyu's heart. You don't accept it. Bai Pu glanced at Jin Bingyu. Well, I don't admit defeat to her, but I admire you. Jin Bingyu said in a muffled voice, you are very capable. Well, let me ask you, among the 3 Tartar generals, who is the main commander who stayed behind in Bianlian? Cheli Buhua. Then why did you appear in the palace? Jin Bingyu seemed to have made up his mind, and he was very happy. Cheli Jiana led the Wolf Fang cavalry to Yingxianfu to capture an important figure, and passed through Bianlian on the way. Who to capture? King Kang, Zhao Gu. On the outskirts of Bianlian, between the mountains and fields, 2 figures were running rapidly. Brother Yaoi. That aboriginal named Beijing is so powerful, you really don't consider following his camp. Yeezy, you have to know that we now belong to the camp of Prince Kang Zhao Gu. If we rashly change to the camp of other princes, we are not one of them at all. We will do all the dirty and tiring work, and we won't be trusted by the other party. The young man named Yaoi had eyes full of wisdom. Prince Kang Zhaogu has a powerful team of awakeners, and he has also invited the powerful aboriginal master Yaoang to come to the king's defense. The chances of winning are much greater than the makeshift team on Beijing's side. Moreover, in history, Prince Kang Zhaogu also successfully established the southern Song dynasty. He is Songhaozhuang. This is the general trend of history, and we are right to follow him. Yizi muttered, last time in the world of flesh and blood plague, you also said that the dominance of the Swedish Empire is a general trend of history. It turns out that the Imperial Army Marshal Dio Fulei that we followed was actually an awakener from China. Yao was a little embarrassed, coughed and said, that was indeed an accident. Who would have thought that the awakener would be so strong? We will have to get back at the humiliation last time sooner or later. Yizi sighed lightly, but then again, Dio Fulei didn't treat us unfairly by letting us work. He gave us the merits and reputation we deserved. Later, he introduced us to Sweden, and we had a foundation in the Swedish Empire camp. Yizi, don't be fooled by his small favors. Yaoi gritted his teeth when he thought of the scene when he was ordered around by Dio Fulei. There is an old saying in China, 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West, don't bully the young and poor. Well, Yizi agreed a little absent-mindedly. This time, the mission of gathering intelligence in Beijing has extra gains. I didn't expect that there was a 28th prince hiding in the Beijing palace. This news must be reported to King Kang as soon as possible, which should increase his favorability. Yaoi said. In this way, King Kang will not be the only royal bloodline that has been preserved. Will there be any twists and turns when we support him as emperor? No. You have also seen the 28th prince, he is only 8 or 9 years old. King Kang is already 20 years old. Any civil and military officials in the Song dynasty will only support King Kang as the new king. 300 miles away from Beijing, Ainshan Prefecture. In a secret room. King Kang Zhaogu is thin, looking around, very uneasy. Opposite Zhaogu, a tall and thin man in black clothes, carrying a long black wooden box on his back. The tall and thin man said lightly, Your Highness King Kang asked me to come here, what do you want to say? Senior Yaoang, today the little king heard a good news. In the Beijing palace, one of my younger brothers was rescued. Shangshu Yao Chang Li Gang is planning to support him to ascend the throne and become emperor. Zhao Gu's expression had nothing to do with the word good news. Is this news true? Yaoang raised his chin. Zhao Gu clapped his hands, And immediately Yaoi and Yizu walked in respectfully with their heads bowed. Greetings to Senior Yaoyang, we saw this with our own eyes, it is absolutely true. Yaoi said. I have always known Li Gang as a loyal and upright person. Since he is willing to establish a young boy as emperor, he must be desperate, thinking that all the royal bloodline has been abducted. Yaoyang said lightly, Your Highness Prince Kang, the Prime Minister Zong has long said that the country cannot be without a monarch for a day, and advised you to ascend the throne as soon as possible. But you have been shirking and dare not. If you have the courage to take responsibility, ascend the throne and proclaim yourself emperor, and let the world know that there are still royal nobles in the Central Plains. Then Li Gang and others will no longer do such rebellious acts. Senior is right, but what should we do now? Zhao Gu was worried. My 28th brother is in Beijing, and he killed the traitor Zhang Bangcheng. It is more legitimate for him to ascend the throne than me. In this way, won't there be two emperors in the world? It seems that I still need to go to Beijing to solve this matter. Yao Ang said. Senior, please be careful. There is a great master assisting the 28th prince. His name is Bai Yujing, and his martial arts are unfathomable. Yaoi hurried to brush up his favorability. Unfortunately, such light words did not move Yaoyang, and he didn't get any favorability. Yaoyang ignored Yaoi, took off the long black wooden box, and flicked it gently. Bai Yujing. If he is sensible and willing to abandon darkness and join the light, and worship His Royal Highness King Kang as the Emperor, it will be fine. If he is stubborn and greedy for the credit of following the dragon, my Taixuan sword will surely drink his blood. Chapter 515. This brother looks a little unfamiliar. Angshan Prefecture. In the lobby, a group of martial artists were sitting, drinking and eating meat, having a great time. Among these martial artists, there were a few who were like socialites, shuttling around. These people were very active, communicating with many martial artists, and from time to time asked indirectly if they had any troubles, and they could help them. However, they were often met with cold reception. After working for a whole morning, a few people looked at each other and sneaked to the corner of the lobby. Third brother, you have been following the line of Shang Jiabao. Have you dug up any side quests? No, Shangzhen and Hulbushu. When I mentioned helping him to get revenge, he just laughed and passed it off casually. The situation is similar on my side. These old martial artists are too cautious. Without years or decades of friendship, they won't believe that someone would fight for them for no reason. It's so fucking depressing. Our caravan is considered a well-known organization in the intermediate spiritual world. Why is it so aggrieved in this world of heroes? I really want to take out my weapons and beat him up. Calm down. We have now joined the camp of King Kang Xiaogu. The general direction is right. As long as Xiaogu ascends the throne, those of us who have followed the dragon will instantly become army leaders and commanders. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Speaking of the merit of following the dragon, most of it was taken by that Yaoyang. Damn it, the first credit was taken by the indigenous people. What a waste. There's nothing we can do. After all, he is a lord-level powerhouse. Even if our caravan people attack together, we are no match for him. A group of people were chatting quietly, and suddenly the third brother took a glance and found that there was another person beside him. He thought it was an aboriginal, so he looked at him carefully for a few times, frowned and said, This brother, he looks a little unfamiliar. Did you just come from another place to serve the king? The awakened people of the caravan didn't care. Although there were many words that exposed their identities in their conversation just now, such as aboriginal and camp, the aboriginals who had not figured out the mystery of the world could not hear these words. Several people looked in the direction of the third brother's eyes, and couldn't help but take a few more glances. He must be new. I've been walking around in the lobby all morning, and I haven't seen such a handsome aboriginal. Several people whispered as if no one was around, bullying the aboriginals who couldn't hear these words. The new young man in white bowed slightly and said to the third brother, I heard that the 9th Prince Xiaogu is here, so I came to see him. SHH. Don't call His Royal Highness Prince Kang by his name. The third brother hurriedly shushed, You have to call His Royal Highness Prince Kang like me. In less than 2 days, you have to call him His Majesty. Oh. Can you take me to see His Royal Highness Prince Kang? I just came to Angshan Prefecture and haven't seen him yet. The young man in white said. His Royal Highness Prince Kang is usually in the back garden, and we rarely see him. But you are lucky to come today. After lunch, His Royal Highness Prince King will come to greet everyone. You wait in the lobby and find a seat to eat." The third brother was very enthusiastic. He felt that the young man in white was extraordinary, but he couldn't tell where he was. In short, don't offend such aboriginals. Back garden. Zhao Gu took Yaoi and Yizi to see Yao Yank off. "Senior Yu Yank, when you go to Beijing this time, you must bring back the 28th prince. He is young, and I am worried that he will be in danger in the territory occupied by the Jin people." "Don't worry, Your Highness, I will be back soon," Yu Yank said lightly. "If the 28th prince is bewitched by the traitor Bai Yujing and wants to compete with Your Highness for the throne, I will kill Bai Yujing and bring the 28th prince back to you and discipline him strictly." Suddenly, a voice sounded slowly. "You don't have to go." "Who is it?" Yu Yank's expression changed slightly and he looked up. On the corner of the eaves of a pavilion, there was a young man in white clothes sitting. He was in a leisurely posture, looking down, as if he was on a spring outing. The reason why Yu Yank's color changed was also very simple. With his hearing, actually perception, he didn't even notice when the young man in white clothes appeared. Yaoi and Yizi exclaimed at the same time, "Bai Yujing! He is Bai Yujing! He is Bai Yujing!" In the middle of the question and answer, Yu Yank had already jumped up, like a big bird swooping towards the pavilion, and raised his hand to grab. The air was distorted, and a surge of suction came. Bai Pu's body flew into the air without wind. Under his feet, each of them had a ball of magic sand. It must be said that magic sand is too easy to use. It's okay to just use magic sand to support the body to float, but it's not realistic to fly at high speed in the air and act as a flying disc mount. In the state of carrying Bai Pu, the magic power stored in the magic sand will be consumed quickly, and it can't support it for long. Yu Yank's palm grabbed in vain, and the pavilion's eaves exploded as if explosives were buried, and it was crushed by the invisible hand of Genki. Flying through the air. Yu Yank was a little surprised when he saw Bai Pu's move. "You look only 18 or 19 years old. How did you master such a skill?" He had never seen such a light skill, which was just like a ghost. "You are very good at martial arts. If you are willing to give up King Kang and come to assist the 28th prince, I can give you my position," Bai Pu said. In Bai Pu's eyes, he could see Yu Yank's name. The dark golden virtual frame represents the Lord level. The 4 attributes are Strength 85, Agility 120, Endurance 80, and Spirit 45. After staring for more than 5 seconds, Bai Pu also saw Yu Yank's comprehensive combat power 4325. The combat power value is almost twice that of Iron Beggar Luo Qianhu, so the actual combat power gap must be astonishingly large, probably the gap between Chu Chuji and Wang Yaoshi. Maybe 7 Luo Qianhus will form a formation and fight side by side to fight Yu Yank head on. "Stop talking nonsense." Yu Yank missed the attack and his body fell. He stopped trying and slapped the sword case behind him. Suddenly, a pitch-black longsword appeared in his palm. The scabbard was black, the hilt was pure black, and even after the sword was unsheathed, the blade was still pitch black. This was the Taixun sword, which was said to be an ancient divine weapon. "I want to see if you really have martial arts that are beyond the comprehension of ghosts and gods." Yu Yank raised his hand and swung his sword. The sharp sword energy flew out of his body, just like the Dao Qizan in the Dao Mo world, attacking Bai Pu through the air. Bai Pu was unwilling to waste the magic sands in vain. He put away the sand, activated the Gangbu ultimate skill, and moved sideways to evade. However, this sword energy was stimulated by Yu Yank's true ki. Compared with the Dao Qizan in the Dao Mo world, it might be less destructive, but it was far more flexible. Yu Yank shook his wrist slightly, and the sword energy that passed by Bai Pu seemed to be pulled by an invisible line, spinning back and shooting towards Bai Pu's back. Chapter 516 I Can Only Disregard Morality. Ling. Bai Pu drew out his great sword with his backhand, and concentrated his sand waterfall fighting spirit on the blade, and parried with his back. Amidst the deafening roar, Bai Pu's figure floated to the ground. Yu Yank sneered, "I thought you were some kind of immortal figure, but it turns out you are just an ordinary person." As he spoke, a strong momentum burst out from Yu Yank's body, and the air was slightly distorted, as if countless phantoms of broken sword blades appeared and slowly rotated. Domain skill, breaking front. You are affected by Yu Yank's domain skill, breaking front. The attack power of your weapon is reduced by 50 points, and you lose 10 points of professional energy per second. When your professional energy is exhausted, you lose 100 points of health per second. Lord of the Xiangsha world, your domain is actually like this. Bai Pu felt the air around him become sticky, like an invisible millstone grinding, which not only affected the power of his attack, but also caused wear and tear on his fighting spirit energy. Fortunately, Bai Pu practiced the advanced fighting spirit training method, with a priority of +1, which offset the pressure of the true ki of Yu Yang, the Lord, and only lost 10 energy points per second. If Bai Pu had not yet advanced and his priority was one level lower, the professional energy lost per second would be greatly increased. Yu Yang took advantage of the pressure of the broken front and rushed forward. The Taixuan sword split into 3 exquisite sword paths, stabbing at Bai Pu's upper, middle and lower palaces respectively. Bai Pu swung his greatsword in a circle, and with the advantage of the width of the weapon, he blocked all 3 swords outside. With a slight clang, Yu Yang's black sword and the great sword collided, and the Lord was shocked and his blood surged. He couldn't help but be shocked, thinking that the white-clothed boy had a strong foundation and pure internal force, and was really a strong opponent. I didn't shake him away. Bai Pu was also a little confused. Even if his strength value is restricted in the intermediate spirit world, it was close to 120 points. Counting other strength judgment bonuses, the total judgment value is close to 180 points, comparable to a humanoid beast. Yu Yang only has 85 points of strength. Even if he has a strength judgment bonus, there is still a difference of at least 40 to 50 points of strength between him and Bai Pu. With such a big gap, he was not knocked away. It was really strange. Yu Yang realized that there was a gap between the two in external skills, and immediately used his body skills to split into dark black shadows. The sword tips shot from all directions and killed Bai Pu. Yu Yang's speed was comparable to Xianlang, so fast that Bai Pu could hardly catch it with his naked eyes. However, Bai Pu's response was also very simple. He opened the sand waterfall field, and a dark yellow sandstorm raged in the venue. Yu Yang's clones and afterimages merged into one. His splitting light and glancing shadows body skills defeated countless heroes. The principle is to rely on explosive speed, combined with the vibration of true energy, to leave an illusion in the enemy's retina, making the enemy at a loss. However, under the restriction of Bai Pu's sand waterfall domain, Yu Yang's spectral shadow could not be activated. Within the sand waterfall domain, sprint skills with a priority of no more than 9 points are restricted and cannot be used. Only with a priority of 10 points can the restrictions of the sand waterfall domain be broken. Your domain skill, sand waterfall domain and Yu Yang's domain skill, broken front are in a priority confrontation. The priority of the sand waterfall domain is 9 points, and the priority of the broken front is 9 points. The result of the confrontation is as follows. Within the range of domain overlap, the effect of the sand waterfall domain is reduced by 25%, triple judgment, and the effect of the broken front is reduced by 50%. Under the impact of the vast sand and dust phantom, Yu Yang's broken front and broken blade phantoms collapsed. Although Yu Yang could not see these spiritual world will prompts, he also clearly felt that the potential domain formed by combining the true ki was almost crushed by the opponent's stronger and more fierce momentum. Reflecting on the spiritual level, Yu Yang had self-doubt for the first time. Can I really win? Bai Pu quickly gave Yu Yang the answer with practical actions. The great sword was raised horizontally, emitting a dark yellow sword energy. Yu Yang did not dare to take it head-on, and could only use the ultimate skill, Taixuan sword technique. The black sword brought a spiral force and hit the wide surface of the great sword multiple times. Layer by layer, he unloaded the force, using softness to overcome hardness, and took Bai Pu's attack. Good swordsmanship. Bai Pu understood this time why the opponent, who was far less powerful than himself, could take his attack head-on. He said loudly, "Try to take my sword again." The great sword slashed again, this time with the ultimate skill of collapsing mountains. Yu Yang suffered from the speed limit and could only fight Bai Pu head-on. Although he tried his best to dissolve Bai Pu's fierce force with soft power, the power of the ultimate skill of collapsing mountains was too strong after reaching the mastery level, which had exceeded the limit of what Taixuan sword technique could dissolve. Clang. With a clear sound, Yu Yang's tiger's mouth was shaken with blood, and the whole person flew backwards. It was not that he was completely chopped and flew backwards, but half of it was because Yu Yang deliberately used the force to fly back to avoid Bai Pu's series of combos. This technique of dodging by using the force of the opponent is also a unique fighting style of the warriors in the Xianxia world. The warriors in the Xianxia world generally have low health points. Even the strong ones blessed by the world's beacon do not have much extra health points. They are good at dodging or parrying attacks with agile body movements and exquisite moves. Even if they are hit by the opponent accidentally, they will quickly condense the body protecting true ki to reduce the damage of the attack. Their body protecting true ki is more powerful and durable than the energy of ordinary professions, and the recovery efficiency is also faster. Often two martial arts masters fight fiercely for a day and a night, until their internal energy is exhausted, and there is no obvious injury on both of them. Like Bai Pu in the early stage, the fighting style of taking damage and counterattacking by relying on adaptive evolution is a complete heresy in the Xianxia world, and is generally called a death warrior. Your Highness, hurry up. Senior Yu Yank, hold on, we will go to the front yard lobby to call someone. Seeing that the situation was not good, Yaoi and Yizi wanted to surround Zhaogu and escape. Bai Pu shook his head slightly. I wanted to fight you fairly, but your subordinates are too smart, so I can only ignore morality. As he spoke, Bai Pu suddenly raised his hand. 3 dark yellow lassos flew out, caught Zhaogu and the other 2 in midair, and dragged them in front of him. Bai Pu raised his sword and slashed at Zhaogu, who was still in a dizzy state. You really came to assassinate King Kang. Yu Yank rushed over. He couldn't watch Zhaogu being killed. Eager to save people, Yu Yank inevitably lost his mind. Bai Pu's sword chopped vertically, and the blow wrapped in the mystery of collapsing mountains shattered Yu Yank's protective ki, and blood flowed from the corners of his mouth. Yu Yank wiped the blood from the corners of his mouth and said coldly, Bai Yujing, with your martial arts, you are definitely not an unknown person. You can see that you are also a Han Chinese. Do you know what you are doing? Killing King Kang will only make the golden dog applaud. Chapter 517, Unusual Sword. Bai Pu would certainly not explain to Yao Yang that the King Kang Zhaogu in front of him was a tyrant as good as Huzong and Qinzong. He was able to establish the Southern Song dynasty not because he was so outstanding, but because the literati of the Song dynasty had no other choice. After the establishment of the Southern Song dynasty, Qin Wei was appointed, Yu Fei was killed, and a large amount of tribute was paid to the kingdom of Jin every year, just to seek a corner of the country. The remaining people shed tears in the dust of the barbarians, and looked south for another year. When Zhaogu gave up the northern expedition and enjoyed the peace and prosperity in Hangzhou, bandits rose up in the central plains and wars were frequent. It was not until decades later that it was completely occupied by the Jin people, and it was no longer the world of the Han family. The 28th son of the emperor, Duke of Ying, Zhao Yu, is also the orthodox of the royal family. Bai Pu replied. Yao Yang shouted angrily, the 28th prince is only 9 years old. When the building is about to collapse, how can he be capable of making decisions? If you are incapable of making decisions, it is better to be a human-shaped seal than a rat who usurps the orthodoxy and hinders loyal ministers and famous generals. Bai Pu said. You are really planning to control the world by holding the emperor hostage. Yu Yank pounced on him, and the two fought again. At Bai Pu's feet, Yaoi and Yizi, who were still lying down, exchanged glances and discussed in a low voice in the team channel. Brother Yaoi, this Bai Yujing, could it be an awakener? How does he know that King Kang Zhaogu will hinder loyal ministers and famous generals in the future? Impossible. How can an awakener have such strength to beat up the indigenous lords? There are also strong ones among the awakeners. Have you forgotten Dio Fuhr, the commander of the Swedish Imperial Army in the Flesh Plague world? This Bai Yujing is much stronger than Dio Fuhr. Moreover, we were affected by his lord skills just now. The prompt message in the spirit world did not say that Awakener Bai Yujing launched an attack on you and you can launch a self-defense counterattack. It said Bai Yujing, the national teacher of the Great Song dynasty. Yaoi still felt it was impossible. Yizi secretly checked the prompt message just now. The skills of Bai Yujing, the national teacher of the Great Song dynasty? Question mark? Causes a suppression effect on you, and within 2 seconds you are in a state of being unable to move due to fear. Skill of Great Song Dynasty Imperial Master Bai Yujing? Question mark? Causes a domain suppression effect on you, and your movement speed is reduced by 63 points. You cannot use sprint-type displacement skills with a priority of no more than 9 points, and you take 20-50 points of mixed damage per second. After being deceived last time, Yaoi and Yeezy specifically looked up the anti-deception tips for awakened people disguised as natives. Awakened people can disguise themselves as natives, especially those awakened people in high positions, who can issue tasks to other awakened people, and there is no flaw in the task prompts. However, there is a flaw that cannot be disguised: the battle record. When a battle breaks out between awakened people, the spiritual world battle record prompt will display the awakened person's codename instead of the spiritual world alias. In addition, there is another anti-deception tip, which is to observe whether the other party will get a battle treasure chest after killing the natives. It seems so, but let's wait and see. If this person is really an aboriginal, he must be the top boss in the world of Xiangsha. Yeezy said. Bai Pu didn't know about the private drama between Yaoi and Yeezy, but focused on the battle with Yu Yang. Because King Xiaogu was under his feet, Yu Yang was afraid to act rashly, and his moves were restricted everywhere, unable to use the exquisite moves of Taixun sword to resolve the attack. Bai Pu's sword after sword, with great force and heavy weight, made Yu Yang's body tremble violently every time he received the attack, and there were traces of subtle hidden injuries accumulating in his body. Yu Yang knew in his heart that after this fight, even if he could win, he would vomit 3 liters of blood and suffer quite serious internal injuries. I can't hesitate anymore. This person in front of me is almost the best in the world in martial arts, and he has great ambitions. It's not an exaggeration to call him a traitor. Even if he succumbs to the devil of Taixun sword, I will get rid of this person. After another fight, Yu Yang used the mystery of Taixun sword to turn over and sweep back, pulling away. His 5 fingers suddenly clenched the blade of Taixun sword and slashed across the sword body. Blood flowed, but strangely, the blood did not flow down the blade, but disappeared on the sword body, as if an invisible mouth had grown on the sword body, gurgling and drinking Yao Yang's blood. This sword seems unusual. Bai Pu narrowed his eyes. As a lord of the intermediate spirit world, the Yao Yang in front of him was too strong. Compared with the lord of the heart demon world, Chitty, Yao Yang was slightly superior in terms of hard power. The black sword in his hand actually has the properties of a magic sword. He has such a trump card, which should not be underestimated. Bai Pu further thought, could it be that he wanted to kill King Kang Xiaogu and change the fate of the Xiangsha world and the establishment of the Southern Song dynasty, which led to unprecedented strong resistance? Because Xiaogu's strength was low, but it was of great importance, so the external resistance to killing him was also terrible. These thoughts flashed through Bai Pu's mind, and his hands moved quickly. He rushed forward like the wind and thrust his sword straight. Only a fool would watch and do nothing when the opponent played his trump card. However, Yu Yang was very skilled in using the force to relieve the force. Although his speed was reduced a little in the sand waterfall field, his foundation as an agile lord was still there. His body was as light as a dead leaf, avoiding Bai Pu's violent and fierce attack. This feeling was more like Dongbo Changzi's Dance of the Wind. Bai Pu had practiced with Dongbo Changzi and had a way to deal with this. Between 2 or 3 sword strikes, the surging energy was rubbed into an illusory circle. As Bai Pu's sword suddenly hit the ground, a storm eye took shape, pulling Yu Yang's body over. Boom! With a loud noise, Bai Pu's fist, which had been ready, hit out. The fist of volcano appearance, landslide, was like a substance, and it was like an invisible high wall, rushing towards Yu Yang. Smoke and dust rose up, and a long dragon of smoke and dust shot out rapidly backwards. It was Yu Yang. At this time, Yu Yang's appearance had changed greatly. His hair was gray and his face was pale, like an old man in his twilight years. The hilt of the Taixun sword extended a series of slender black and red metal thorns, which drilled into his right hand holding the sword. It looked like a sword grew out of his hand. A black and red eyeball appeared in the center of the Taixun sword. It was half open and half closed at this time, and had not yet fully opened. But Yu Yang's momentum was 10 times stronger than before. The black mist was swirling and suddenly spread. Bai Pu's originally unfolded sand waterfall field encountered this violent black evil spirit, and it was like a snow pile encountering hot water. It dissipated more than half in an instant. However, Bai Pu could clearly sense that this evil spirit was not emitted by Yu Yang. The center of the evil spirit was in Yu Yang's right hand, that is, the Taixun sword. The evil spirit quickly swept around Bai Pu. There was darkness in front of Bai Pu's eyes. Chapter 518 I'm going to bet my fate here. You are affected by the Black Pang Town, and fall into a blind state. You cannot use any sprint-type displacement skills with a priority not exceeding 10. Bai Pu's Sand Falls domain was also completely crushed by the Black Pangtown, and had little effect on Yu Yang's deceleration effect. Swish. In the dark curtain, a black magic blade with half-opened and half-closed eyes stabbed silently from behind Bai Pu. Being blinded, Bai Pu was pierced through the shoulder blade by this black magic blade. Taichuan Sword Slave's normal attack caused 428 points of sharp damage to you. You are affected by the absorbing mist and lose 600 points of health. Taichuan Sword Slave gains the same amount of vitality to maintain its own actions. A simple sword caused Bai Pu to suffer more than 1,000 points of damage. Bai Pu is in the intermediate spirit world, with a health value of about 5,000 points. He can withstand at most 5 swords before he dies. If he encounters a critical hit, he will probably be killed in 2 or 3 swords. The key is that this sword has its own blood-sucking ability, and the 100% blood-sucking conversion rate is really scary. Bai Pu was still blind, and an agility lord was lurking in the dark, and he was simply at the mercy of the other party. If it were an ordinary person, he would have been scared to death. However, Bai Pu was quite calm, and all kinds of analysis flashed through his mind. Yu Yang's name in the spirit world has become Taixun Sword Slave. Combined with the state I saw him in the last time, it should be confirmed that he was parasitized by the Taixun sword. The Black Pangtown is equivalent to the power of a high-level spirit world demon god. It is definitely not something that Yu Yang can use casually. It seems that he has to burn his vitality as a source of power. It is definitely not enough to rely on Yu Yang's vitality alone, so the Taixun sword comes with a special effect of absorbing mist, which can plunder the opponent's vitality and maintain the power of the magic sword. The good news is that Yu Yang should have lost his self-control at this time. Before killing me, he will not release the magic sword, nor will he think of running away. So, my best response is, don't get hurt. Don't be robbed of vitality. When the magic sword loses its power source, it's time for me to counterattack. Bai Pu closed his eyes. Under the Black Pangtown, his Sand Falls domain was almost invalidated. He could only rely on his understanding of the mystery of the collapse of the mountain to sense the vibration of the surrounding ground and judge the direction of Yu Yang's attack. At the same time, Bai Pu's Gangfang mystery was also fully exerted. You need to sense the flow of the wind. The wind has traces to follow, and the trajectory of the wind conforms to the laws of nature and has a unique beauty. When you can sense the flow of the wind, even if you close your eyes, every blade of grass, every insect and every bird in the surrounding area will be within your perception. When you understand the flow of the wind in your heart, dance with the wind. Dongbo Changzi's previous instructions flashed through Bai Pu's mind. Swish, the black blade stabbed again silently. Bai Pu's figure moved erratically, as if dancing with a breeze brought by the black blade, and he turned half a circle, dodging the sword perfectly. The black blade did not retract after stabbing, but deflected and slashed out horizontally. In Bai Pu's omnipresent perception, this sword gave him a weird feeling. Under normal circumstances, the swordsman should be the main body, the sword is the weapon, and the person controls the sword. But at this time, it was the Taixun sword that was the main body, stabbing and slashing, as if the sword itself was dancing, and Yao Ank was passively following, just providing a human-shaped support for the Taixun sword. As expected, the name of the Taixun sword slave is quite appropriate. Not good. Bai Pu was distracted this time, and he was unable to immerse himself in the state of dancing wind. After all, his understanding of the dancing wind secret was a little lacking. Although Bai Pu took advantage of the vibration from the mountain collapse secret and took a half step back to avoid the attack of the Taixun sword, he was still hit by the tip of the sword and suffered more than 200 points of sharp damage again. This damage is nothing, the key is the additional damage of the absorbing mist that followed, which plundered Bai Pu's 300 health points. This is when Bai Pu activated the adaptive evolution state for the absorbing mist and forced a 50% damage reduction. Can't get hurt again. In Bai Pu's palm, golden light flashed, and a thick shield appeared in his palm. This is the dark gold tower shield of the Demon Spider Queen's alert, but at this time, when Bai Pu took it out, it had already transformed into a heavy shield of the normal style of the Xiangsha world, without any disobedience. This is because Bai Pu descended to the Xiangsha, Jingking change plane in the form of Source Master's Advent, with a limited level. He temporarily lost many characteristics of the awakened, and was more like an aboriginal. Bai Pu's heavy armor and chainsaw sword automatically transformed into a white dress and an ancient sword in the Xiangsha world to match his aboriginal identity. This transformation will not change back even in combat. With a heavy shield in hand, combined with the vibrations sensed by the collapse of the mountain, Bai Pu was able to block the attack of the Taixun sword. Ding, ding. The sound of metal clashing continued to ring, and the durability of the dark gold heavy shield was also rapidly decreasing. However, the Taixun sword could never hit Bai Pu again to cause damage, and the terrible additional effect absorbing mist could not be activated. Just as Bai Pu expected, the power source supporting the Taixun sword, that is, the vitality, was rapidly depleted. The Taixun sword seemed to emit a spiritual humming sound, like the anxious roar of a strange beast. Suddenly, the Taixun sword snapped and broke free from Yao Yang's right arm, then one turned into two turned into four, and countless intertwined black sword shadows were separated, all strangling Bai Pu. It was like a swirling storm. Yi Zi and Yaoi, who were watching the battle nearby, looked at each other. Due to the obstruction of the Hepeng town, they could only see that Song Dynasty National Master Bai Yujing was shrouded in a large area of black fog released by Yao Yang. The sound of metal clashing and the humming of the sword blade vibrating in the black fog continued to come, but it was unclear what was happening inside. "Brother Yaoi, shall we go?" Yi Zi said in a low voice. "No. Yi Zi, now is a great opportunity. Haven't you read the online game novels in ancient times? Two big bosses fought to the death, and in the end the protagonist got a magic weapon and became successful from then on." Yaoi's eyes lit up. "I've had enough of this mediocre life. I'm going to bet my fate here." Within the Hepeng town, facing the endless black sword shadows like a storm, the big shield in Bai Pu's palm suddenly split into pieces of tiny armor pieces, inlaid in various parts of the body. Demonic Power Liberation Protection Special Effect. Bai Pu's whole body is equivalent to having the blocking effect of the dark gold shield, which can convert sharp damage into 10% shock damage. The active skill of Steel Skin is activated, and a fixed 36 points of physical damage reduction is obtained. At the same time, Bai Pu also opened the Ancestral Blessing skill of the Immortal King 4-piece set, and obtained another 50% damage reduction. Chapter 519. I implore the Imperial Master to include it. Ding, ding, dang, dang, a series of dense metal clashes. The Taixun sword attacked hundreds of times in a row, but only hit Bai Pu's armor plate, without breaking the skin and flesh. This means that the special effect of absorbing mist cannot be activated. From a data perspective, Bai Pu only suffered a series of -12, -6 and other minor shock damage, mixed with a large number of 0. 10 seconds later, the black fog suddenly dissipated. It is said to dissipate, but in fact it is more like the Taixun sword sucked all the black fog back. With a click, the Taixun sword fell to the ground at an angle, and the sharp blade was inserted into the ground. The broken arm of the hilt has dried up like a dead vine, and it fell into pieces when the wind blew. This magic sword needs vitality to maintain. Under ideal conditions, Yu Yang's vitality plays the role of activating the magic sword. The subsequent magic sword will continue to cause damage to the enemy, absorb the enemy's vitality, and fight to support the battle. However, Bai Pu was like a bronze and iron statue. The magic sword could not draw enough vitality from Bai Pu. It could only continuously draw the vitality of Yu Yang. The last move was a blow that split into sword shadows all over the sky, which drained all the vitality of Yu Yang. It was intended to cut off Bai Pu's consciousness and turn him into a new sword slave. However, Bai Pu's dark gold tower shield and endless damage reduction skills helped him survive this wave of outbreaks without any danger. After the black fog in Hepeng town was taken back, Yaoi and Yi Zi, who had been watching eagerly, finally saw the result of this Lord-level peak duel. Bai Yujing, the national teacher of the Great Song Dynasty, was still upright, and even his breath had not weakened much. Only the white clothes on his shoulders were stained with blood and his clothes were slightly messy. The Yu Yang on the opposite side was as withered as a ghost, with only his last breath left. Bai Yujing did not waste time with Yu Yang, and slashed his head with a heavy sword. Zimida. Yaoi secretly cried out that it was not good. The ideal plot that the two bosses would fight to the death and he would come to finish off the enemy did not happen. Things took the worst possible turn. Bai Yujing defeated Yao Yang head-on, and he was not seriously injured. Yaoi and Yi Zi had the urge to escape, but they did not dare to escape. Now they could only wait for Bai Yujing's decision. If they escaped in advance, they would be killed on the spot. King Xiaogu did not care so much. He saw that the peak strong man he relied on, Yao Yang, who was usually regarded as a god, died tragically on the spot, and his legs were weak with fear. Someone come, someone come. Xiaogu rolled and crawled, trying to escape from here. He hated this manor that occupied too much space, and regretted that he had despised those vulgar Jianghu people and placed them in the front yard of the manor with the idea of staying away from them, which was too far away. Now that Yao Yang has fallen, there is no one to protect him. Yao suddenly took action. He flashed and pounced on Xiaogu's side, pressing him to the ground. Bold, what are you doing? Xiaogu was shocked and angry. Your Highness, Prince Kang, face the reality. Wait for Senior Bai Yujing's decision. Yao said expressionlessly, feeling no guilt for his backstabbing. Of course, Yao received tips such as King Kang Xiaogu's favorability towards you has been greatly reduced and your reputation in King Kang's camp has been greatly reduced, but he did not blink an eye. The camp can be changed, the thought can be changed, but there is only one life. If backstabbing Xiaogu can increase his chance of survival by even 1%, Yao will not hesitate. Bai Pu put down the small stone in his hand. As expected, he is an awakened person who has been with me. He has a flexible moral bottom line. Although it is despicable, only such people can survive in the spirit world. Bai Pu secretly evaluated in his heart. He checked the remains of Yu Yang. As Bai Pu expected, Yu Yang did not drop a treasure chest. Bai Pu temporarily lost some characteristics of the awakened, such as killing the natives and dropping the loot treasure chest, but he also gained some characteristics similar to the natives. For example, looting. In Yao Yang's arms, there is a slightly yellowed secret book with 3 ancient seal characters Taixun Sutra written on it. After flipping through it, Bai Pu found that it was a comprehensive martial arts book, which included the Taixun Heart method for practicing true Qi, the Taixun Sword method for practicing sword moves, and the 3 secrets of Taixun Sword method in the appendix. Unfortunately, this is not a professional plain test, and the awakened person's learning ability is limited. Otherwise, it can be verified with a fighting Qi practice method, and maybe a martial arts that combines Chinese and Western styles can be created. Bai Pu cannot practice this book, and Qin can't practice it either. Moreover, this book was obtained by using the plundering ability of the natives. Although Bai Pu can read and give it as a gift, he cannot take it out of this world. He can only find a native with a predestined relationship in this world and give it to him for practice. A black ring was also found on Yao Yang's body, which did not look like an ordinary thing. Bai Pu took it in his hand and got relevant information. Black jade ring, valuable item, special proof. Cannot be taken out of this world. Bai Pu frowned slightly. It seems that he has to investigate the origin of Yu Yang to know the meaning of this ring. Finally, there is the dark Taixun sword. Bai Pu walked to the front of the Taixun sword and blew a breath. Suddenly, the arm on the hilt of the Taixun sword, which looked like a withered vine, scattered with the wind. This sword seems very strange. It seems to be very similar to the ancient relics of the Damo world, and contains the power of gods and demons. The evidence is the Black Pang Town, which seems to be of the same level as the True Red Town and Brahma Town in the Damo world. After Bai Pu's upgraded Sands Falls domain, it is completely unable to resist the power of the town. Bai Pu is very curious, what exactly are gods and demons? Why are there relics of gods and demons in the 2 completely different world backgrounds of the Xiangsha world and the Damo world? In the Xiangsha world, are the gods and demons behind the Taixun sword connected with the Holy Dragon King and the demon god Saragar in the Damo world? Can gods and demons appear across different planes? Bai Pu thought about it and picked up the sword. Taixun sword, an item containing mysterious high-level power. It cannot be taken out of this world. At this time, the Taixun sword has lost its original ferocity. Perhaps the consciousness in the sword body is sleeping. As long as Bai Pu does not use blood to activate it, it should not be sucked dry like Yao Yang. Bai Pu took the scabbard back from Yao Yang and put it away. He turned to look at King Kang Xiaogu and the 2 awakeners, Yao and Yizi. In fact, these 3 people have been within the range of Bai Pu's spirit. As long as they want to escape, Bai Pu will definitely throw stones with a spinning throw at the first time, and kill them with overwhelming attributes and fighting energy. Yao motioned to Yizi to keep an eye on Xiaogu, and the whole person rushed to Bai Pu. After sliding to his knees, he got off the seat and buried his head tightly in the dust. We are willing to abandon darkness and join the light, and we earnestly ask the state teacher to include us. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 520, Changing the Destiny of the World. Raise your head. Bai Pu ordered. The posture of sitting down seems humble and submissive on the surface, but from Bai Pu's angle, he can only see Yaoi's arched back and can't see his face clearly. Perhaps, under the humble and aggrieved back, the face is full of hideous unwillingness. Yaoi quickly raised his head, and his facial expression was so sincere. Master Imperial Master, what do you want? Bai Pu nodded. You and your companions, go and kill Zhao Gu. Others might hesitate for a moment, after all, Zhao Gu has a special identity. But Yaoi nodded without hesitation, walked in front of Zhao Gu, raised his hand and stabbed Zhao Gu in the heart. Seeing that his elder brother had done the same, Yi followed suit, took out a dagger, and cut Zhao Gu's throat. The future Song Gaozong, the founder of the Southern Song dynasty, Qin Wei's boss, and the man behind the Fenbo Pavilion Injustice, died a violent death. Bai Pu also received a prompt message. Due to your reasons, the death of King Zhaogu has led to a huge change in the fate of the world in Xiangsha, Jingking change. You have gained 1 legendary point. Bai Pu nodded with satisfaction. The accumulated 1 legendary point can open the memory expansion of the first layer of the talent tree, which can store an additional 4 evolutionary states. However, the effect of the first layer of talent is far less than that of the second layer. Bai Pu intends to use the best steel on the blade. After accumulating 3 legendary points, he will directly open the second layer of talent. In addition to the Source Master's Advent that has been opened in the second layer, the remaining 2 talents, whether dual evolution or enhanced meditation, are very powerful. Bai Pu opened the second layer of the evolution heart talent tree and looked at the talents again. A dual evolution allows you to open 2 adaptive evolutionary states at the same time, and obtain the mimicry enhancement effect after opening. Not activated. B. Source Master's Advent, your source blood point limit +1, pure blood point limit +3. All your source blood apostles and pure blood servants can join your mind connection and communicate with consciousness in your mind image. You get the talent skill, Advent. Activated. C. Strengthened meditation, when you use genetic imagery for combat training, the proficiency of combat skills and secrets will be reflected in reality at the same time. Not activated. We still have to continue to collect legendary points. At present, it seems that my idea of lighting up the Source Lord's Advent first and developing apostles and servants is still correct, which can greatly improve the efficiency of collecting legendary points. Bai Pu glanced at Yaoi and Yi and said lightly, dispose of Zhao Gu's body and treat him as missing. The 2 of you have been charged with the crime of killing King Zhao Gu. Only with this handle in my hand can you be trusted by me. Hey! Yaoi and Yi were excited. They had received the news of the will of the spirit world. National Master Bai Yujing's attitude towards you has eased and is no longer in a hostile state. Current favorability level, cold. National Master Bai Yujing invites you to join the restoration camp of the 28th Prince Xiao Su. Do you agree? Yaoi and Yi certainly agreed. However, seeing that the favorability between the big boss and himself was only at the cold level, Yaoi was very anxious. He thought of a solution in a hurry. Master Imperial Master. Although Zhao Gu is dead, there are still some strange people who are loyal to him, and they will never give up. They are like the 2 of us, good at making friends and disguising themselves. If they want to harm the 28th Prince, it will be difficult to guard against them. I am very familiar with these people, and I can help Master Imperial Master to find them out to prevent future troubles. Bai Pu's mouth curled slightly. Yaoi is going to sell out the awakened people in the same camp as himself. The first sword on the shore is to kill the little friends first. Bai Pu nodded slightly. Okay, you make an appointment and I will deal with it. Looking at Yaoi and the other 2 going away, Bai Pu let out a sigh of relief. He stretched out his hand and stroked the bumpy surface of the dark gold tower shield. Thanks to this shield, otherwise I can't resist the last wave of sword shadow attacks from the Taixun sword at all, and I can only escape an embarrassment. It's a pity that the dark gold shield is a product of the intermediate spirit world, and the material is only rare grade. Facing the fierce attack of the ancient relics such as the Taixuan sword, its durability drops too quickly. Bai Pu used the shield's swallowing and strengthening ability to swallow the corpse of Yu Yang. Fortunately, the shield has a strong self-repair ability. As long as there is a corpse of a strong man, the durability can be restored quickly. Zhao Gu's disappearance caused an earthquake in the Zhuang family manor. Those Jianghu figures heard that Zhao Gu was missing and Yu Yang disappeared, and they were immediately very anxious. After a vigorous search, they could only see some messy traces of fighting in the back garden, and the smell of blood had not yet dissipated. I'm afraid that His Royal Highness King Kang has met with an accident. Could it be the pursuers of Jingu? What kind of pursuers can't even protect a master like Yu Yang? You know what? Yu Yang has a mysterious origin. His name has never been heard of in the martial arts world, but he has such a powerful strength. This matter is unusual. The guest from Yaoyan should be from the 16 prefectures of Yan'an, right? Hiss. Could it be that he is not a martial artist from the Central Plains? The Northern Song dynasty has always been weak in external affairs. The 16 prefectures of Yan'an have been occupied by the Liao Kingdom and have been unable to be taken back. Over time, this area has become an enemy foreign territory and is no longer considered the Central Plains. The caravan, a group of awakened people, listened to the discussions of the indigenous people and looked at each other in shock. They have received a reminder message from the will of the spiritual world that the important indigenous people who issued the main task, King Kang, Zhao Gu and Yao Ang, have all disappeared, and the main task is in a state where it cannot be submitted. Once the task time is over, it will be automatically regarded as a failure. Although there will be no exile, the original reward will be gone, and the psychic points will be deducted. These people are as anxious as ants on a hot pot. However, Yaoi sent a message saying that he had found clues about King Kang and asked them to go to a secluded place. Originally, several people were still wondering whether Yaoi had bad intentions. As an awakened person, he would not get up early without benefit. Why would he share clues with them for no reason? Yaoi obviously understood the psychology of the awakened people, and said in a big way, if Yi and I had enough strength, we would have rescued King Kang and monopolized the credit. This clue would definitely not be shared with you. Now we are all on the same boat. I am looking for you to save people so that I can complete the task. However, the kickbacks still need to be paid, 10,000 spiritual energy points per person. The few people were slightly relieved, and then they used the fact that Yaoi and the other two were unable to save people as a handle to negotiate with Yaoi and bargained, and finally the price was reduced to 6,000 per person. This made Yaoi a small fortune. After receiving the kickbacks, Yaoi led a group of people to a remote farm on the outskirts of Aingshan Prefecture. There, everyone successfully found the mysterious person who kidnapped His Royal Highness Prince Kang. Chapter 521. Damn it, I was almost cheated by the golden dog. A remote farm. Yaoi, who was in charge of the investigation, soon sent a message. The traces of His Royal Highness King Kang disappeared in the farm ahead. I saw that there was only one aboriginal in the farm, a young man in white clothes, who looked very young. Yi added, but my exploration skills can't tell how strong he is. He must not be an ordinary person. Nonsense, appearing alone in such a place must be extraordinary. But he is so young, he should be a rookie warrior who has just started out in the world, and he may not be very strong. An awakened person from the horse gang said. That's right, the warriors in the world of Xiangsha mainly practice internal ki, and the older they are, the deeper their skills are. Several awakened people from the horse gang nodded in agreement, and soon Maliozen made a decision. Everyone sneaked into the farm from various passages and captured the young man in white in one fell swoop. The infiltration was very smooth, so smooth that Maliozen was a little suspicious. This is the force that kidnapped King Kang Zhao Gu. Is it really so easy to be caught by everyone? Thinking of this, Maliozen quietly gave an order, everyone, don't move yet. I don't trust those two Fuzo people. You should test the quality of the white-clothed boy from a distance first. The thin-faced awakener Dujiu nodded in agreement and quietly moved forward. Use smoke to make him lose his ability to move. Don't use too strong a poison. You have to keep him alive. Maliozen gave another instruction. Not long after, Dujiu returned. Maliozen sent another spellcaster subordinate to release a fireball spell in front of the house where the white-clothed boy was, causing an explosion. According to Maliozen's calculations, As long as the aboriginal still had the ability to move, he would definitely go out to check when he heard this sound, or he would run away out of guilt. As a result, long after the explosion, the white-clothed boy was still sitting in the house, motionless. It's done. Maliozen led several awakeners, along with Yaoi and Yizi who were watching from a distance, and walked into the house together. "Who are you?" the young man in white asked calmly, with his back to them and without even turning his head. "You are just being mysterious." Seeing that the young man in white was motionless, several awakened people were more and more convinced that he was hit by the smoke and lost his ability to move. "You don't need to know who we are," Maliozen said. "Who are you? Where did you Yank and His Royal Highness King Wang go?" Until now, Maliozen didn't know what role Yu Yank played in the disappearance of King Kang. But he was sure that the young man in white in front of him must be one of the insiders. He did guess right. The young man in white stood up in the wide eyes of the awakened people, turned around slowly, and said indifferently, "My surname is Bai. My Taoist name is Yujing. I am the national teacher of the Song dynasty." Maliozen's forehead was throbbing with veins. He finally knew the source of his uneasiness and understood his omissions. The caravan made an explosion outside, and the young man in white didn't come out to check. There are two possibilities. First, the young man in white was very weak and was easily restrained by Dujiayu's smoke and could not move to check. Secondly, the young man in white is very strong, and the smoke has no effect on him at all, but he is skilled and bold, and doesn't care about the strange noise outside. At this time, the young man who calls himself Bai Yujing, the national teacher of the Great Song dynasty, has proved that he is not affected by the smoke, which must be the second possibility, that is, the possibility that Maliozen neglected to miss. Retreat. Maliozen whistled. It is common sense for awakened people to avoid fighting when they encounter aboriginals of uncertain strength in the spirit world. However, when several awakened people flew to leave, suddenly a thick sandstorm phantom unfolded, covering them all. In the phantom of the sandstorm, several people felt heavy, as if they were carrying a 1,000-pound weight, and their movement speed was reduced by a full 65 points. Intermediate awakened people, even the enhanced elites with agility expertise, can move faster than 65 points, and there are very few. Most of the awakened people in the caravan are in a state of standing in punishment. Malao-san was the only master with an agility of 85 points. His speed was reduced to only 20 points. He wanted to use the acceleration skill to escape, but found that he could not escape due to the priority limit. He could only stagger outward, trying to get out of the range of the sand waterfall. The next second, a dark yellow lasso rolled over, and a mountain-like phantom descended. Not only Malao-san, but also other awakened people were suppressed by the dark yellow lasso and dragged in front of the white-clothed boy. "Do you want to die or live?" These 4 words sounded like heavenly music to the ears of the awakened horse gang. Everyone was extremely fortunate that they did not encounter a bloodthirsty native, and quickly knelt down to beg for mercy. Bai Pu said, "I have found out that King Kang Xiaogu had unfortunately died when he was first sent to the Jin camp. The so-called King Kang who escaped later was a substitute made by Jin Gu using his superb disguise skills. His real name is One-Iron Gu. Jin Gu has a good plan. He deliberately took away all the royal bloodline and left only One-Iron Gu to be the emperor of our Han people. After One-Iron Gu became emperor, he would definitely kill loyal people and beg for mercy and surrender to Jin Gu." Bai Pu's words were completely fabricated. But the awakened have a flexible moral bottom line. The awakened people in the caravan looked as if they had suddenly realized something. "Damn it, we were almost deceived by Jin Gu. Fortunately, there is the national teacher who corrected the chaos, otherwise we almost followed One-Iron Gu and became national sinners." Bai Pu nodded slightly. "Fortunately, God has not destroyed the Song dynasty. The 28th prince, Duke of Ying, Zhao Yan, is still in Beijing, and the coronation ceremony will be held on a chosen day. I should have executed you, the false ministers who served One-Iron Gu, on the spot. However, ignorance is not a crime. If you abandon darkness and join the light, and work loyally for the new emperor, you will be forgiven." Maliozen and others all received a prompt from the will of the spirit world. Bai Yujing, the national teacher of the Song dynasty, invites you to leave the camp of King Kang Xiaogu and switch to the camp of the 28th prince, Duke of Ying, Zhao Yu. Do you agree? Warning, if you choose to agree, you will lose all the reputation accumulated in the camp of King Kang Xiaogu, and the relevant indigenous people's favorability towards you will drop significantly. The people of the Magang endured the heartache and chose to agree. Maliosan made a mistake in command this time and felt uneasy. However, he was a person who was good at making up for it. He immediately said in the temporary team channel, "Dear brothers, we have an old saying in China, a blessing in disguise. This Bai Yujing, at first glance, is a top master in the world of Xiangsha, and he is also a national teacher. As long as we hold on to his thighs, what worries about not being able to rise to prominence?" Everyone's faces finally looked better. Bai Pu then gave instructions to these awakened ones and assigned them a messenger mission, asking them to deliver the date of the 28th prince's coronation ceremony to various prefectures, so as to prevent those local officials, civil officials and military generals from thinking that the Song dynasty royal family was all over and having other thoughts. Chapter 522 New Member. Bai Pu did not kill the awakened people of the horse gang as Yaoi expected, but collected them. Fortunately, Yaoi was captured together with the awakened people of the horse gang. The people of the horse gang did not know that Yaoi deliberately led them here. Only Maliosan felt something was wrong. Now, Yaoi has gained the favorability of Bai Yujing and reached the neutral level, but he also has some more troubles. Maliosan and others asked Yaoi to pay back the money. Each of them gave Yaoi 6,000 spiritual energy points. Yaoi certainly did not admit it. He felt that he had fulfilled the content of the agreement. After receiving the money, he led the horse gang to find clues about the disappearance of King Kang. It was the awakened people of the horse gang who were too weak to take down the national teacher. What does it have to do with him, Yaoi? Moreover, everyone also got a blessing in disguise. They switched from the camp of King Kang, which was about to fail, to the camp of Zhao Yu, the Duke of England. Not only did they save the high fine for the failure of the main task, but they could also continue to explore the world of Xiangsha. Anyway, this amount of spiritual energy points should not be returned. However, the caravan was large and powerful, and Ma Laosan was suspicious of Yaoi, so he made a harsh remark, asking Yaoi and Yizi to be careful, because there would always be a time when the natives could not take care of it. The two were uneasy in their hearts, and could only secretly make up their minds to hold on to the thigh of the national teacher. The coronation ceremony of the 28th Prince Zhao Yu was held in the ruined palace of Bianjing. The famous minister Li Gang served as prime minister, and the Taoist master Bai Yujing served as the national teacher. The civil officials and military generals below were promoted and conferred titles, and finally a new small court was established. Civil and military officials from all over the country came to Beijing to pay homage to the new emperor. The military generals of the Zhe family and the Zhang family were ordered to lead the border troops to Beijing to protect the emperor. Some people suggested moving south, but were rejected by Li Gang and Bai Pu. This is also because almost all the high-ranking officials of the northern Song dynasty were wiped out. Li Gang was the most senior and prestigious official who stayed in Bianjing. The emperor was young and could not make decisions. Li Gang was able to suppress the voices of moving south. If it was King Kang Xiaogu who ascended the throne, he would definitely flee south regardless of everything and abandon the vast land and rivers of Hebei. The major event was initially decided. In the imperial master's mansion, Bai Pu and Qin sat opposite each other and talked about the Yaoan guest. "Good guy, it's a good thing you are here." Qin was a little scared. "I am not the opponent of the Yaoan guest. This is the resistance to changing the fate of the world, but after killing the Yaoan guest, we have gained a lot." Bai Pu took out the Taixuan sword, Taixuan Sutra, and the black jade ring. These three things can be regarded as a martial arts treasure of the Xiangsha world. Unfortunately, you and I cannot take them out of this world, so you can only choose an indigenous person to inherit them. This is enough to create a first-class master. If the other party is talented, it is not impossible for him to advance to the top level. Qin took the three things, thought for a while and said, "Dio, you just happen to give me these things. Actually, I want to develop someone." "Who?" "Princess Ningfu, Princess Zhao Chuansu." Qin said, "This princess was originally mediocre, but she was an important figure in the reconstruction of the Northern Song dynasty after its collapse. Now, as the eldest sister, she takes care of the emperor and supervises state affairs. She will inevitably receive the focus of the world's Dao icon." Bai Pu nodded, secretly praising Qin's intelligence in his heart, which was more far-sighted than many awakened people. However, Bai Pu still said, "When developing Zhao Chuanzu, you still have to ask her if she is willing." Qin smiled and said, If she was originally a royal princess, she would definitely not be willing. But after the demise of the Northern Song dynasty and the fall of Bianjing City, she was almost insulted by the Jin soldiers. Her original thoughts have changed greatly. She knows that the royal identity and noble position are all false, and strength is real. As early as when I greeted you at Yuwang Mountain, Zhao Chuanzu asked me if she could become your disciple like me. Bai Pu smiled. How did you answer? Limited by the mystery of the world of the indigenous people, it was difficult for Qin to directly explain the truth of the world to Zhao Chuanzu. I only told her that becoming your disciple can indeed gain powerful power and the support of the master. But from now on, life and death, honor and disgrace, are deeply bound to the master, and must never betray. Qin said. This is another popular explanation of the Source Lord Advent Conference. She agreed. She agreed without any hesitation. Qin said. Okay. In this case, you will give her a drop of pure blood. Bai Pu agreed. In each world, Bai Pu has a maximum of 5 slaves, whether the slaves are converted by the Source Blood Apostles or by Bai Pu himself. Therefore, if Qin wants to develop new members, she must first obtain Bai Pu's consent. After developing Zhao Chuanzu as a new member, you can hand over the affairs of the Xiangsha world to her. If there are any subsequent tasks, you can directly ask her to complete them. Qin said with a smile, I just got out and roamed other intermediate spirit worlds for you to obtain legendary points. 2 days later, the Source Master came to the meeting. Zhao Chuanzu was a little confused, and looked at this miraculous consciousness space with some curiosity. Although her guide, Miss Qin, had told her about the Source Master's meeting and the truth of the world in advance, these shocking news still made Zhao Chuanzu dizzy. At this time, her 3 views were still being rebuilt. There are many worlds, and the Song dynasty where I was born, is just one of the endless worlds. Master Yujing, is he a great man who travels through all walks of life? Are all of these his disciples? After uncovering the mystery of the world, Zhao Chuanzu's mentality was quietly changing. Seeing Bai Pu sitting in the main seat, she had mixed emotions again. Master, I have followed your instructions to develop Princess Ningfu into a new member of the organization. Her potential is indeed amazing. After receiving the infusion of pure blood, she has initially possessed the 4th level enhanced elite template. After a pause, Qin continued, this is not her full potential. The master gave her the Taixun Sutra, and as a native of the Xiangsha world, she can also practice. In the future, if she practices successfully, it will be a natural thing for her to be promoted to a leader and strengthen her leader. Zhao Chuanzu was born in the royal family, and she stood up and saluted skillfully to express her gratitude. Thank you, Master, for giving me the Taixun Sutra and the Taixun sword. Well, regarding the Taixun sword, you still have to be careful when using it. This is a magic sword that houses a power far beyond your own level. You can secretly investigate the other black jade ring, starting from Yao Yang's origin. It should contain a big secret of the world of Xiangsha. Yes. Zhao Chuanzu knew that cracking the big secret of the spiritual world was a major goal of Yujing Immortal Master, that is, the Master, and it could help the Master become more powerful. At this time, Zhao Chuanzu had deeply felt what Qin meant by life and death, honor and disgrace, and deep binding with the Master. But she did not reject it. Chapter 523 Chatting and Laughing with a Boss. Born in the royal family, Zhao Chuanzu knows that there are gains and losses. In the past, she was deeply bound to the royal family of the Northern Song dynasty, enjoying rich food and wealth. But she could not decide on her own marriage, either marrying a barbarian or marrying a minister to appease the ministers. The royal family of the Northern Song dynasty was weak, and when the Jin soldiers came, all the royal family members were wiped out. That's enough. As for obeying orders and being loyal, she had to obey her father and be loyal to the emperor before. It was the same price, so what was the difference? Compared with the weakness of her father and the stupidity of the emperor, obeying Bai Pu, a powerful and skillful strong man, can also make herself feel more secure. Zhao Chuanzu thought so in her heart, and looked at Bai Pu with a little more relief. Chuanzu, in the world of Xiangsha, in addition to tracing the secrets of Taixun sword, you must also remember to help your master publicize more and spread the name of Yujing Immortal Master throughout the Central Plains. Qin said. Zhao Chuanzu also knew this and nodded in agreement. No need to rush. Wait until you have the strength of a first-class master, enhanced leader, cultivate enough team forces, and completely grasp the real power of the new Song dynasty, then it will not be too late to do this. Bai Pu said lightly. Xianxia, the world of Jinkang change is only an intermediate spiritual world after all, and can only be regarded as an appetizer. My focus now is still the world of original sin. The world of original sin has just been promoted to the advanced spiritual world. In terms of difficulty, it is not as difficult as the top lanes such as the world of fighting demons. It is just right for Bai Pu to stir up the situation. If he can change the fate of the world of original sin, or discover the secrets of the world of original sin, Bai Pu should be able to obtain more legendary points. Bonnie also reported the latest situation. According to Bai Pu's plan, she has joined the Light of Redemption organization and officially became a subordinate of the Redeemer. At the same time, Bonnie is also preparing to sell the Light of Redemption to the Church of Thorns at an appropriate time, so as to attract the strong men of the Church of Thorns to eliminate her. At that time, she will perform the ceremony of the advent of the Source Master and call for the arrival of Bai Pu. Qin reminded, the ceremony of the Origin Master's advent is quite complicated and needs to be prepared a few days in advance. Bonnie, have you looked up the content of the ceremony to call the Master to come? Bonnie nodded and said, I have checked. It is necessary to draw a specific divine descent array, light 7 candles at the nodes of the array, and keep burning for 7 days to accumulate enough power for the Master to cross the border and descend. Don't you need to find the natives? Qin said curiously. Back in the Xianxia world, the will of the spiritual world also asked me to find Zhao Chuanzhu, an aboriginal, and walk together in Yuan Mountain for 5 days. Bai Pu said, because Bonnie herself came from the world of original sin, she is considered half a native. She has never left the world of original sin, and has not yet given up the blessing of the world's beacon. After the meeting, Bai Pu returned to the real world. To be precise, he returned to his border, the giant fern mountain. You are really a busy man. Li Ling routinely reported to Bai Pu about the recent major events and finally complained. Bai Pu smiled slightly. When you become a high-level awakener, you will feel that the environment in the real world is really uncomfortable, and you will instinctively want to find a more comfortable place. The intensity of psychic particles in the current giant fern plane is a bit weak. It would be better if I had a high-level junction. While speaking, Bai Pu looked through the accumulated messages on his personal watch. Because of the existence of Li Ling, the little secretary of the practical officer, there are not many numbers that can be directly contacted on Bai Pu's personal terminal. There are only a few executives of the Jiangnan District Council, and at worst, they are middle-level powerful figures in the Special Service Bureau. There are big guys to talk and laugh with, but no grassroots. Of course, Bai Pu's acquaintances and friends before he became rich can still call Bai Pu's number. For example, several teammates of the first team of the Special Service Group 6, classmates of the university team, Suzia Oxiao and Kilin of the Shenset Army, etc. These old friends also know that Bai Pu's status has changed at this time. They treasure Bai Pu's number and will only call him when they have no choice and are in urgent need of help. Normally, they will not harass Bai Pu and lose their relationship. There are also some old acquaintances who witnessed Bai Pu's rise, and they are full of regrets at this time, such as Bai Wang, Quang Chan, Tai Yang. There was once a big thigh in front of them, but they did not cherish it. The one who regrets the most must be Jin Liu, from the genius camp of the Shenset Army. Bai Wang and others at least have family backgrounds. Even if they did not hold on to Bai Pu's thighs, they are not bad. But Jin Liu is just a grassroots person. Since the incident of betraying Bai Pu, Jin Liu has been marginalized in the genius camp of the Shenset Army by Kilin and other people who know the inside story. Even Mad Dog, who is very close to Jin Liu, doesn't pay much attention to him. Without the help of teammates, Jin Liu can only venture into the spirit world alone and form various wild teams. It is conceivable that his progress is greatly lagging behind. Now that the 3-year contract is over, as a member of the Genius Camp, he has not even reached level 6. When renewing the long-term agreement, Jin Liu was naturally abandoned. Li Ling knew that there was another reason why Jin Liu was abandoned, that is, the middle and senior leaders of the Shenset Army were not sure about Bai Pu's attitude. If you are not sure, then forget it. It is not worth even asking or testing, because Taurus is not that good. Li Ling looked at Bai Pu's clear face, a little dazed. It has been less than a year, and this rapidly rising teenager has already stood in a class that many people look up to. Many people try to figure out the hidden meaning of his every move, and carefully avoid touching the minefield. Bai Pu opened a series of information screens, threw away the unnecessary ones, and kept only the most important ones. According to the latest report from the Special Service Bureau, criminal activities in the Jiangnan region have been rampant recently, and there have been several crimes committed by evil awakeners. Bai Pu frowned and opened a few bloody photos that were even mosaicked. Yes, the evil awakeners have been a bit rampant recently. Originally, they only dared to commit crimes quietly in mountainous areas and villages, but now they have developed to various cities. I don't know who is so bold. Li Ling said. Bai Pu flipped through the messages with his fingers. Deputy Team Leader Yuan Tang sent me a private message. The organization's preliminary investigation determined that these criminal activities should be closely related to the Superstar Alliance. Has the regional committee made any moves recently? About the Superstar Alliance. Li Ling thought for a moment and said, nothing has been made public. But I heard that former executive councillor Wu Yunzhong visited Chief Kiao privately, but the visit ended unpleasantly. Chapter 524 The Evil Awakener. Oh? How could such a secret be spread? Bai Pu narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. It seems that the officials' tolerance for the Superstar Alliance has reached its limit, and they don't mind tearing their faces apart. That's right, maybe this secret was deliberately spread by Chief Kiao. Li Ling also agreed with Bai Pu's judgment. So, the awakened crimes that have occurred in the city recently are Wu Yunzhong's counterattack. Bai Pu stood up and said coldly, it is our duty to fight crime. You are already a substitute executive, and you should be in charge of the border area. Li Ling reminded. Of course I will take care of the border area. However, I am also an A-level special agent of the Special Service Bureau. Catching awakened criminals is also within my authority. Zicheng No. 4 Middle School. On the rooftop, there were corpses in school uniforms. These corpses were pieced together. Team Leader Yuan Tang, according to the preliminary estimate after the piece together, there should be 17 students killed. A police chief reported in a low voice. Crimes committed by awakeners like this can only be solved by the Secret Service, and the police department can only help. Search for any biological remains left by the criminals and compare them with a database. Yuan Tang rubbed his eyebrows. In fact, he also knew who the source was, but he lacked evidence and dared not say more. For vicious incidents like this, it goes without saying that it must be the masterpiece of an evil awakener. If you want to know what the benefits of doing this kind of thing are, the answer is only 4 words: pursuit of excitement. Excitement can inspire inspiration. Inspiration is conducive to skill mutation. Mutated skills are much more powerful than ordinary skills. And some evil-inclined mutant skills have strict requirements on the number of killings, and the skill proficiency can be improved by accumulating the number of killings. Generally speaking, this kind of evil mutant skills with a killing tendency, even if they are evil awakeners, tend to cultivate in the spirit world, some lawless plane worlds. But some people have set their sights on the real world. Because killing people in the spirit world brings a little excitement. It is better to kill people in the real world, people who are from the same world as you, which brings greater excitement and is easier to break through. The criminal was very careful and didn't leave any biological residue. The sheriff sighed. Very careful. Yuan Tang frowned. Generally speaking, evil awakened people kill people in pursuit of excitement in reality, and their emotions are relatively crazy. It is rare for them to kill their own kind in a calm state. Anvil on the side came over. This guy is more like a demonstration. Just like the previous 2 vicious incidents. Reported. Yuan Tang exhaled. Without evidence, he had to expand his power and search a wider net based on limited surveillance data. Suddenly, a beeping sound rang out. Yuan Tang quickly opened the call on his personal watch, and a voice came hurriedly, "Oh no, there is a fire in the Zicheng Hotel. It is suspected to be the work of the awakened. 2 firefighters were killed while saving people." Zicheng Hotel. Bai Pu looked up and saw the thick smoke billowing from the 14th floor. A red line drawn with blood circled the outside of the building where the fire in Zicheng Hotel was. A cold voice rang out in the burning building. Within 20 minutes, no one is allowed to cross the blood line, or they will die. The bodies of the 2 firefighters lay on the blood line, as if providing silent evidence for this sentence. 20 minutes. Is this the time it takes for the official forces to gather? Bai Pu pressed down the brim of his hat, estimated the angle, and stepped forward. Suddenly, he saw an acquaintance in the crowd. The son of the Superstar Alliance, Wu Chen. Wu Chen seemed to have sensed something and turned around to see Bai Pu. His eyes flashed, and he quietly stepped back, avoiding Bai Pu's sight with the help of the crowd of onlookers. Bai Pu took a step forward, his figure shuttled like a giant whale, and the crowd on both sides was squeezed away by an inexplicable soft force. Bai Pu saw Wu Chen again, raised his hand, and Wu Chen's body flew up into the clouds and mist, and came to Bai Pu, and was stepped on by Bai Pu. Swish, a personal watch fell into Bai Pu's palm. Wu Chen came back to his senses from the suppression, lay on the ground and looked up at Bai Pu, gritted his teeth and said, "What are you doing? Instead of putting out the fire, you come to catch me. I'm A-level Special Agent Gangson. I suspect you are related to the evil awakener in the building." Bai Pu's hands showed magic-proof handcuffs and deprivation shackles, and he handcuffed Wu Chen, shaking Wu Chen's personal watch. "Only by controlling you can I go to put out the fire with peace of mind." The people around noticed the movement here and looked over. What's going on? Is this man a policeman? Is he arresting someone? Maybe he's an evil awakener. The person he arrested seems to be Wu Chen, the son of the superpower group. Bah, what evil awakener? Look carefully, he's Gangson. The one who was on TV some time ago. He's from the Secret Service. Great, Gangson's special agent is here. The people trapped in the building are saved. Why did Gangson arrest Wu Chen? Is Wu Chen colluding with the evil awakener? Wu Chen saw the people around him looking at him with vigilance and suspicion. He had never experienced this feeling of being pointed at by others. He was shocked and angry, and closed his eyes and shouted, "Gangson, I must sue you. I will sue you to bankruptcy." Bai Pu ignored him. After knocking Wu Chen down, he tiptoed and jumped into the air like a big bird. Boom, boom. The gangbu was activated, and Bai Pu's figure continued to climb up. In the horrified eyes of the people around him, he rushed straight to the smoking and burning 14th floor. Swish, swish. On the 14th floor, two figures rushed out one after the other, swinging far away with thin elastic ropes like Spider-Man. It's them. They used this special rope to kill the firefighters. Steelheart Special Agent, don't let them go. As the onlookers below fled in all directions, some people still shouted at Bai Pu in the air. The civilians of the Psychic Age are not only physically stronger than those of the AD Age, but also much braver than those of the AD Age. Under Bai Pu's feet, the magic sands formed a tray, holding him up and floating in the air. He closed his eyes slightly, and his mental power swept across. There are no other awakened people in the building. The firefighters will put out the fire as soon as possible. As for the two who escaped, leave it to me. The word I echoed in the air, and Bai Pu used the gangbu again, and he had already rushed out, chasing the two Spider-Men at a very fast speed. There is a small combination skill of gangbu and magic sand. Gangbu can step on the ground or step on the air, and perform multiple jumps and changes of direction in the air. However, stepping on the air consumes extra fighting spirit, while stepping on the ground consumes very little. Bai Pu used magic sand to form a tray to pat his feet, which played a similar role to the ground, and the endurance of the air sprint increased dramatically. Chapter 525, Fight with him. Under the gaze of the crowd below, Bai Pu, wearing heavy armor, kept leaping in the air like a hawk, and disappeared from sight in a flash. Wow, so amazing. He can actually fly. It's so rare to see an awakened person who can fly. The last character card of Steelheart is the one of Blood Armor Shield Guard, and he can't fly. This must be a new skill he has mastered. Amid the discussion of the crowd, within a few minutes, several special agents arrived at the scene. The leader was Yuan Tang. The criminal who set fire and killed people ran away again. Yuan Tang heard the story of the insider, and he was angry at first. However, when he heard that Bai Pu had captured a suspicious person and personally went to hunt down two fleeing criminals, his eyes lit up. It's so lucky. Steelheart happened to be here, and these crazy guys deserve to be caught. Yuan Tang had full confidence in Bai Pu. He immediately called the official Special Operations Brigade and pointed out the direction for them to support. Who is the suspicious person that Steelheart captured? Everyone made way. Yuan Tang saw Wu Chen, his face changed slightly. It's you. Wu Chen was trapped by special shackles, but his face was very calm. He said coldly, Deputy Team Leader Yuan Tang, are you so arrogant in the 6th Special Service? You use torture instruments on me without any evidence. Be careful of getting burned. Now I give you a chance, unlock my shackles. I cannot hold you responsible, otherwise, I will sue you in the 6th Special Service. After the initial shock, Yuan Tang quickly calmed down. Mr. Wu Chen, You don't have to threaten. Our Special Service Bureau will not wrongly accuse a good person, but will never let any bad guy go. Since Gangson thinks you have a problem, then before he comes back, you can rest assured to wear the torture instruments. Between the tall buildings, the spider silk in the hands of the two evil awakeners shot out and swept across. The two cursed in the temporary team channel. Damn, how could I be so unlucky that I happened to meet a special agent nearby? It's all Wu Chen's fault. He can't even delay time. He sent a message and the person arrived right after. We didn't even have time to run. Oh no, the duration of the demonized spider silk is almost over. The special agent chasing us from behind can last longer than us. Hongyu, let's not run away, let's fight him. Don't be stupid, let's go down. Find a place with ordinary people. The two awakened people looked at each other, suddenly swooped down from the side of the tall building, and rushed into the bustling crowd on the street. However, just as they were about to enter the crowd, suddenly there was a phantom of a mountain collapse in front of them, and the whole person fell into a state of fainting, and then his body became lighter, and flew backwards like a cloud. With a flash of light, the two people used the means of releasing control almost at the same time. Insufficient priority. The two people's release of control failed at the same time, only reducing a small amount of control time, and were dragged to the top of a nearby rooftop without any resistance. With two thuds, the two fell in front of Bai Pu in a mess. Then a terrible sandstorm appeared, completely covering the two. A big sword slashed out with a force that was beyond protection. Hongyu and the other two woke up from the suppressed state. They were also experienced in many battles, so they reacted quickly, activated the acceleration skill, dodged the sword on the left and right, and pounced on Bai Pu, who was holding the sword, intending to counterattack. However, their steps were much slower than usual, and the acceleration skill of the shoes also failed. With a loud bang, Bai Pu's sword chopped down vertically, shocking the ground, and the force of the fighting spirit rebounded, blowing the two people staggering back. Bai Pu's sword was powerful, but it did not cause any damage to the rooftop. From this point, it can be seen that after he was promoted to a high-level awakener and practiced the advanced fighting spirit method, his accuracy in controlling energy has been greatly improved. Bai Pu stepped forward and punched, and the person on the left spurted blood and his body bent into an arch. The person on the right wanted to escape, but where could he escape to within the sand waterfall area? Bai Pu kicked out from behind, breaking the spine of the right-hand man. His body fell forward in a big shape, leaving a long trail on the ground. Bai Pu looked at the two scums indifferently, raised his sword and slashed, and the limbs of the two were cut off. At the same time, the personal watches of the two fell into Bai Pu's palm. If it weren't for the follow-up interrogation, Bai Pu would have chopped them with a knife. The wounded parts of the two people were bleeding like a spring. They instinctively held their breath and controlled the muscle peristalsis of the wound to stop the bleeding, so as not to be injured and die from the bleeding. Who sent you here to set fire and kill people? Bai Pu turned on the recording function of his personal watch and asked coldly. One of them was a little hesitant, and the other spoke first. It was Wu Chen. 3 days ago. Wu Yunzhong, the chairman of the board of directors of the Superstar Alliance and the former executive counselor of the Jiangnan district, personally visited Chief Qiao. This is a major event that determines the life and death of the Superstar Alliance. As Wu Yunzhong's nephew and the son of Super Energy Group, Wu Chen was naturally very concerned. However, he waited until the evening when his second uncle Wu Yunzhong returned, but he only got an answer that made him extremely disappointed. The negotiations broke down. Superstar Alliance, Super Energy Group, no longer have a foothold in Jiangnan district. Move to other districts? That would kill faster. The authorities seem to have forgotten that the second uncle's status as a standing counselor was not a reward from them, but was won by Superstar Alliance with its own strength. For many years, Superstar Alliance has been the trash can of Jiangnan district, accommodating so many evil spirits on the wanted list and restraining their behavior. If it weren't for us, would the public security in Jiangnan district be so peaceful? Whether Jiangnan is in chaos or not, Superstar has the final say. If you want to kill a pig for the new year, I want to see if Qiao Jian has the ability to do it. Wu Chen's ruthlessness was not the first time. In the past, Wu Yunzhong had always restrained him, and whenever he said this, he would scold him. But this time, Wu Yunzhong didn't say anything. Bai Pu was a little surprised when he heard the answer. He was not surprised by the identity of the mastermind behind the scenes. After all, He had already guessed it. What surprised him was that the captured evil awakener named Redfish had no psychological pressure to confess Wu Chen. Bai Pu had expected torture and various means, but none of them were used. You have committed more than one crime. Bai Pu flipped through the records. Did you do the case of Zichen No. 4 middle school? Redfish hurriedly said, no, we don't have enough time. The case of No. 4 middle school was done by Nanzu and others. Are you also instructed by Wu Chen? That's right. We actually don't want to make a fuss in the city, but Wu Chen wants us to make a big deal. The last question. Which intersection will you and Nanzu hide in after committing the crime? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.